Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
Hey everybody, welcome to Golden Guys. Wow, I am screwed up the camera here. It is Tuesday night. I'm here with DS Comics. We are here in the kitchen at Shady Acres, getting ready to find out where our Betty White is. He'll be here in a little bit. He's going to be running a little late, but we do have the spinner rack is being formed as we speak, the very last bit of it. And first of all, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for being a friend. And let me just say, how we doing, DS?
I'm good. Good to be back up here on the show. I was out of town this past weekend for a little mini vacay, and I made a deal at a comic shop, and I picked up a couple books. We'll show those. But, moving along. Everything's pretty good. I'm kind of biding my time in this market that's crazy, and trying to just make fewer deals and be very cautious because it's crazy out there. But, yeah, everything's going well so far to start the year here.
I have been
further way in, but.
Yeah, I myself have been taking advantage of this time and selling at a peak of a lot of books that were $1 or $2 books in the past. And getting some great original artwork coming in from Anthony, including a piece that is absolutely going to be the mainstay of our household. And Liz is all excited about it. I'm not going to show it yet because I don't have it yet, but that's totally perfect. That's good because I have no room right now. This may be about 6 months away. We're probably going to be out of this building and finally into a domicile that isn't 6 floors high, but we'll be in a cool area.
Nice.
I'll have a compound. Yeah, we're working on that. We're going to show some books. Lewis couldn't make it. Guru couldn't make it. No problem. We got the 2 of us. We got 3 of us will be here. He'll be here in a little bit. I picked up some cool books. Bronze Age. I'm going to share them right now before we do the Golden Age stuff that he picked up. The only reason I picked up these is because I do love these runs and kind of like this. Some of my favorite covers out there. I don't know if you've ever seen. Let me just go on the big screen real quick. I did not take him out of the poly, but this is one of my favorite covers of the Dark Mansion series.
Oh yeah, nice.
I love that one of the guy. You know, it's so well done, and it's just a great book. Love that one. I did get the first Bronze Age appearance of the Spectre Venture Comics. I do like this one. I'm actually very excited to announce that next year, a year from now, all Spectre Comics anthology omnibus is coming out, including gold, silver, and bronze, and maybe the modern one. I picked up it's 25 center, not really bronze. It's bronze, it's copper, but I just love this. This is one of my favorite Fantastic Fours. It's 148. The reason I like it is because the Frightful Four are back again. So you got the Paste Pot Pete, the Wizard, the Trapster, and Sandman is hitting things. So sand is hitting rock, and not probably the best idea for Marco there.
That's clobbering time there.
One of the books that DS loves that I love as well. Got a great copy of this near mint minus. I haven't really done a really look on it. No ticks on it whatsoever. Just a few little blunted corner for me. Again, I'm very picky about Bronze Age books, but classic cover, one of the best right there. I do love the way that's drawn, and one of my favorites there. I picked up this. I'm also completing the Hulk portion of the runs. I'm still collecting runs for those of you who do or do not. This is my 7th copy of this book. I still want a 9.8. I've graded more 9.6s than anybody on it. So let's give that one a chance. Then I'm reading 257, 258, and 259. Nothing special about the books if you go for spec, but You have the Arabian Knight's first appearance, which is kind of a cool character in the Hulk world. He controls a lot of the chaos animals and the Soviet ones. And this is one that I think anybody who was being so the Source Sinister, the Soviet super soldiers. This is actually from, if you watch, when the super soldiers, there they are. Those are the Soviet super soldiers. And it's a great run. Just Hulk doesn't have a lot of keys during that time, but they are fun. Other than like 181 and stuff like that. But just some fun books I picked up. I do have some golds. They're all in a box. Shout out to Pete Swan and everybody at Good Old Comics. He made some good deals with me and some Vader books. So some fun stuff right there. Yeah, just fun. Just fun books. Oh, and one more thing I want to shout out. Peacekeepers came out, which is a book by Ryland Grant, and I got the whole run, every book of that that's done. This is the volumes 1 and 2. It's a trade, and I got an original sketch, and this is pretty badass right here.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Jason.
It's a Kickstarter. It's by Ryland Grant. It's called Peacekeepers. I haven't read it yet. I'm very interested in it. The he's got pro Second Amendment right there. So
yeah, cool.
There you go.
Well, I didn't pick up as much as that, but I picked up a couple things. If you want to go ahead and make me big.
Here we go.
So I went out of town this past weekend, and I brought a book with me, a PCH book, that I was just going to take into a couple shops and see if I could sell it or maybe trade it or whatever. So I did end up going into a shop and brought that book with me and showed it to the guy behind the counter. I had done in the shop before when I go out of town there. And he texted a picture to the owner who wasn't there and called him on the phone and told him what was up. And so the owner came down to see it. So I guess it interested him enough for that. So he came down and took a look, and we talked about what I wanted out of it, why I was selling it, and whatever. And I told him there's, some other books I was thinking about investing in. I named one. He's like, well, I have that book. I've got 2 of them. And he had one in the range that I thought we could work a deal on. So he's like, let me go run home and grab it. I'll be right back. So all right. So he went home and he came back and we worked out a deal where I traded him the PCH book. And what I left with and came back up here was Giant Size X-Men #1, 6.5 off white to white. So yeah, pretty decent. This was, this book's red hot. It's probably the hottest book on the planet right now. Yeah, I want to invest in one, but I didn't want to put a lot of money into it. I don't want to pay what's going for, but I want one. It's a nice investment book. And so, yeah, we worked out a deal. And coincidentally, he was personally in his PC collecting the title of that PCH that I had with me, and he didn't have that one. So, yeah, we worked out a deal. And there was some back and forth. And the final deal was, we agreed on something, and I said, all right, so we'll do that if you throw in this book with it. And he said, yeah, not a problem, go for it. So obviously that's the big one there. What he threw in is just something off the rack here. It's just a hard reprint. This is volume 1 of Everett stuff. So this covers, I guess, probably like 39 to 42 range. It has a bunch of Centaurs and stuff like that. Victory Comics, Amazing Man Comics, Target Comics, Regular Fellers, Blue Bolt, and it reprints all his early stuff. Nice. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got all the covers that he did, and it doesn't have the entire comic reprint. It just has the covers he did and then the stories that he did. So it's abbreviated issues. It's just his stuff in these issues. But it's cool, and it's got, like all these things do, a little introduction, a biography of him. So yeah, I thought that was cool. So yeah, I got a GSX-1 in a decent grade, and that's a hot book. And then I got a nice little Bill Everett reading material. So awesome. That's picked up.
Good stuff. Well, I'm going to shout out the chat while we're here. First up on there is VK on comment. First one, congratulations. Here is the great Anthony Perdue. The yellow covers on Action and Superman might have been DC's symbolic reminder that Kal-El was dawning of the age of comic book heroes, the son of Krypton that Nurtured the industry. Correct. April 18th, 1938, the day it hit the stands. The Costume Crusaders, which we're going to talk about a little bit because we're going to talk about this next week in here. We're going to talk a little bit about superheroes a little bit and some new CGC changes. We're going to talk. I'm going to talk to DS specifically about those because they sound pretty interesting. And he goes, I think Kamakura got a new logo. Yes, there is a new logo that they're working on right now. Mr. Gray, great having you here, Mr. Ricky Markstedt. By the way, I didn't mention his name. Here he is. In addition, we've got here the great Jumbo Comics. One of my favorite Rula covers right there. Always in it there. Of course, we got DS here. Always participating in the chat, which is one of the best things. John Haynes says, John Hassan says, Hsin says, hi guys, Mar, pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for being a friend. Craig Turk joined us here. Hey guys, I waited 2 weeks. I'm finally looking forward to the show. Thank you very much. Apologize about being off last week. It was just a busy week for all of us. Babysitters resigned, all the whole deal we were dealing with here. And NC Slapjacks here. I have the same grade of a giant size. Can't believe that is doubled in value in 4 months. Yeah. I mean, right now there are some books that you've seen of the other eras that are peaking and going up, and stuff I can't even keep track of. I mean, right now I have people calling me about my Savage Tales collection, and I might have like $100 in the whole thing, and they're talking in the $800-900 range. They want these books, and they're raw. Very good. Now.
Let me say one other thing. I did a lot of research and watching videos and reading up on stuff, talking to a lot of collectors in the broader antiques and collectibles market, not just comics, like sports cards and coin guys. And I'm trying to get a picture of what's going on in the comic market. And everybody has different reasons and different ideas. So you know what I did? I stepped back and I looked at the entire antiques and collectibles market to see what's going on in comics and how that fits in. And I feel like I've come up with a pretty good idea of what's going on. And without going down the black hole of this in this show, unless you guys want to at some point tonight, I don't think this is a bubble, and I don't think there's a crash coming. I've been thinking about it for several weeks, and this weekend I had a lot of time to really dive deep into it, and I think there's other things going on. So I think this market is going to continue going strong. I mean, there's dips and fluctuations, of course, but I don't think there's a bubble in bronze, silver, gold. Now the modern market's speculative, I think, but So yeah, I don't know. I've sort of changed my mind because your gut instinct is this is a bubble. There's going to be a crash. There's no way. I don't think that's the case anymore. I really think this market is going to go strong from this point on, but there'll be bumps in the road. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting. It's an interesting time for sure. I've never seen it like this in just the measly 6 years I've been doing it. This is the craziest so far. So
yeah, I mean, in my history, there's nothing that I can compare this to other than the stock market. And I compare it to not so much the .com, but the current stock market of true values, not the GameStop stuff and that stuff, but the what has been steadily increasing has been the key companies that have been driving the market. We're not talking penny stocks or anything else like that, just key blue chip companies. And blue chip comics, we all know what happened to the X-Men one. I mean, they are what they are right now. They are outdoing Hulk ones, Avengers ones, every other Silver Age book with exception of FF1 and AF15. The number 3 right now probably was Journey 83, Hulk 1, was both moving in sync. Journey had a big bump. But then X-Men in the past month has kind of shown everybody its staying power. It was dormant, kind of like the way Fantastic Four in 2000. It was dormant for a while. It was stuck at that $1,000. It says dormant, but at the most $1,000 a grade. So a 4 or 5 was going for $4,500. That's it. Now 4 or 5 is easily a $20,000 book. X-Men was always less than that, never more than $700, $800 at any point. at any point was it ever that high. Even in the high 775 grades, they weren't even close to 5,000. They were barely breaking $5,000. Now, 0.5s, 1.5s, everything is going crazy, and it's a market in the blue chip market has continued. In the silver age, those are the big names. In the Bronze Age, what I have seen happen in the Bronze Age is the recognition that it finally gets of being the, and I mean this is going on up into the 80s now. Anything in a high grade, and I mean 9s, 4s, and higher, in giant sizes, not just giant size X-Men 1. All the giant sizes are going for out. The Silver Surfers, the everything has just pretty much been on fire right now, and it's been helping the market whatsoever. WandaVision has helped a lot of books in a lot of different areas, whether it be your West Coast Avengers, your regular Avengers, your Defenders, your Fantastic Four with, it's Agatha Harkness the whole time. That all is helping out that market very well. I would also say that the standard DC stuff is actually picking up in a way where your House of Secrets 92, your staple DC Bronze Age book, was dormant for about a couple of years in reality. And now it has just taken over everyone. We're going to bring in here, and we're going to talk quickly about CG. I want to ask DS this one question.
Guys.
Hey, what's going on? Great having you here, Mike.
Right. Sometimes it's hard to be a dad.
It is.
A good one,
I get,
right?
Yeah. There are times I go through the same stuff. One of the things that I noticed CGC did is they issued out 3 new Our Era custom labels. And one is very sci-fi, which was really cool, and then some horror in there. Now, my question is, DS, as someone who doesn't really like gimmicks as much and recognizes gimmicks when he sees gimmicks, you have to admit, now that the gimmick has come home to roost on you, are you interested?
No, and I'll tell you why. So, look, I'm a big fan of grading, and the more interest and demand and value that comics have as collectibles, the more important the third-party grading is. It doesn't become less important; it becomes more important. It gives a lot of confidence in the market to these books when you're moving them back and forth on the secondary market. I'm looking for grading. I'm looking for the grade. I'm looking for a nice sort of holder that's like a nice frame for the art and the book. Here's my problem with the labels. I would totally be on board with those if I could send 20 books in, and two of them qualify for that horror label. I would pick the horror label. It's an extra $5 or $10, but they don't even ship them the same. That stops me. They ship them separately, and then it's separate shipping I have to pay. I don't want to pay. It's like $30, $40 or whatever, $28, $35, whatever. If I could just all they have to do is print it out. It's the same books are in the same tier, but if you get a custom label, it pulls it out of that submission and makes it a separate return mailing. So that's why I don't do it. They're cool. I don't have a problem with it. I would pick some here and there, especially on some Spider-Man books or whatever, something like that. But they pull them out of your regular submission, and then they return them separately under separate shipping when you do custom labels. So unless your whole submission is all custom labels, they pull the custom labels out from the regular labels and they send them separately, and you got to pay 2 batches of shipping. It's not that important to me to have a little picture on the label to pay the extra $5 for the label, and then the extra $35 or whatever the value of the books are to have them shipped back to me. I mean, if you're gonna charge me $5 for the label, I feel like that $5 is so that you go to a different printer for those books. It doesn't mean it's a whole new submission. Then what's the $5 for? The extra ink for that image? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm not on board with it. But if I send in one book and it qualifies for a custom label, maybe I'll get the custom label. And I have done that before. I had an ASM 3. I sent that in by itself as a big book. I got the Spider-Man label. But yeah, I'm not doing it because they send them out separate under separate shipping. So I think that's too much money to get those.
I did not know that they consider it, because I know they do that with me with pedigrees, and they take a while because of the provenance I have to show.
Yeah.
Which are to, I'm used to that, and I've got quite a few of 3 or 4 pedigrees that I'm a big fan of. So I kind of find it ironic that they actually make you guys do that.
Yeah, if I send in like
shipping, I didn't know
if
that.
I send in 5 books and one is a Spider-Man book that I want the label for, they're going to pull that out and send it back to me separately and charge me for 2 separate shippings. Not worth it. If they would sell a lot more of those labels to people like me if they would just print the label off and keep the book in the same tier and keep them together. Like, it's not that hard. I mean, maybe it's a different printer. Maybe they have to upload an image. That's what the $5 is for. You know what I mean? Or the 10, it's 5 or 10. I can't remember, but that's what I feel like that's for. If you're going to split it out and make you pay extra shipping, don't even charge for the label then. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people are not doing it because of that. And if they just allowed you to keep your submissions intact and pick the labels, they would sell 10 times as many of those custom labels and make way more money. And I don't feel like it's cost them anything to keep the books together. Just print out the labels for the custom ones and keep the whole submission intact. I don't understand it.
Nice. Knights, you missed a little bit of show and tell. Did you want to show
I
anything?
saw you got a giant size, which you probably sold already. Yes.
Not yet.
Let's see. I saw a couple things you showed, JD, but there was one you moved away. It looked like maybe some kind of horror cover.
Yeah, these are the Bronze
That looked
Age
really
horror
good.
books.
Let me see
This
that.
one. This
Yeah,
one.
that looks awesome. Who's the
Yeah,
art?
this is a really good book. I know DS likes this cover a lot.
Yeah, I don't have that one yet, but
That's cool.
that's on my list.
This was on the boards. One of the guys I usually buy from on the boards was there. It's near mint minus. It's just got a little blunted corner down here. It's really fine, and I'm grading it anytime soon. It's part of my House of Mystery collections, which I pretty much have almost the whole run. I'm working on that. You know, the runs I collect are for my own personal. My PC is to have runs there. This is
What was the artist on it? Who drew that cover?
Which one? The merry-go-round with the skeleton?
Yeah.
That's Bernie Wrightson.
This is Wrightson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
the cover is credited to Wrightson and Kaluta, I think.
Right. It's always
Wrightson.
the skull and the horse is Wrightson. The background has always been Kaluta, and which is the most important part. Let's be honest, it's Bernie. And I think this is Cardi, but I'll double check. I haven't really checked that yet.
What is that? 20 center?
Yep, 20 center, number 12, Forbidden Tales of the Dark Mansion. 20 cents. So my guess is September of 73.
It could be Cardi. It has a little, like, it almost makes me feel like it's Dominguez too, but I don't know that.
Again, this was the era of the Filipino area as well. So
yeah, I don't know, but that's a cool book too.
Yeah. So now a golden age topic before we get into anything else. I wanted.
Wait a minute. What's that shirt you're wearing, DS?
Olympia Sports, not Olympia, Washington.
I was like, what?
Very disappointing. The funny thing is, I bought one of these shirts in like 2003, and it fit so good. I loved it so much. I went back to the store and bought like 7 more. I still have 2 left. This is one that still survived. So this shirt's like between 15 and 20 years old and going strong. Yeah.
I'm surprised you jumped so fast on what you thought I meant, which was right. But were you one of those kids who memorized every capital of every state?
Yeah, I did. Look, I always like this part of why I'm interested and I take to some areas of the comics. I'm very OCD. I like lists. I like facts. I like top 10s. I like ratings, 1 to 10 ratings. You know what I mean? I like all that stuff. And then comics are like, it's all that stuff with badass art too. So yeah, I would memorize capitals and little facts and like top 10 lists. I love all that stuff. Yeah.
Nice. Question for you guys here. Now, I know CGC on the levels, and a lot of people have been saying that the time now CGC has been much longer than everybody's been accustomed to recently. And I want to take you back 5 years ago. This was average, okay, 5 years ago. It took a while 5 years ago. You would send in your 4, other than moderns. Moderns were about a month and a half. But you would send in your value books back then, or your tier books, which you did a lot more of then, or your standards even. They would take this while. So I know everybody's seen a lot of chat on the board saying it's ridiculous, it's taking too long. I'm like, and half of the older guys that have been doing this for a while, for 5 years, say 10 years, it used to take a lot longer. I don't think people realize how big it's grown. But the amount of comics that they are seeing graded, and I've called and asked them about this, they have never, ever in their history have had as many comics graded or coming in and trying to be graded as they have, pressed as well, but especially the grading. In the last 6 months, they have done more than they did in any previous year.
Yeah.
And now, following 3 months since then, they confirmed saying, we are at our 3-year average in our in the last 6 months.
3-year average?
Yeah, the 3-year average in the first few months of this year. And
well,
if you
I'll
think
tell you
about
why that is, because look, when grading first started, it wasn't, and I wasn't into comics at the time, but one thing good to do if you get into comics and CGC is already going and you weren't there when it started, go on the CGC boards and just read all the conversations that's going on in 2000, 2001, 2002. Very interesting to see how views on various things, pressing, cleaning, defects, restoration, grading, all that stuff changed. You can see the history of it by going back and reading through it. It's interesting. But look, grading is here to stay. It is a key part of any collectibles market to have third-party grading, especially items that can be encased safely and have condition that affects value. And then in recent years, the modern spec market has exploded. And that is where all these extra books are coming from, in my opinion, to be graded. Now, for better or for worse, whatever it is, if you go check out some of these sports guys and they do videos and articles about their grading, they have the same complaints about PSA that people in our hobby have about CGC. Their rates just doubled for PSA. The turnaround times are atrocious. They have census numbers that are through the roof of like 70, 80,000 of something on the census. So we have very conservative, very reasonable, very efficient third-party grading in comics when you compare it to other collectibles markets. And it's a crucial part of the hobby in comics to have third-party grading. And people still don't understand this, and they rail against it, and they complain about turnaround times, they complain about cost, they complain about the quality and the service. We have it better than all these other markets do, and it's really not that bad. I mean, the volume of books is exploding at CGC, and value just bounces between 60 and 80 days. I mean, it's not hitting hundreds of days. It's just, I mean, it was at 80 days or something. Now it's back down to like 73 or 77 or something. And then modern, man, they're cranking out moderns in 30 to 40 days always. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the problem is here with the turnaround times. I mean, people are sending millions of books in, and they're keeping the turnaround times pretty tight, I think. I don't have a problem with it.
We've had people, well, I'm going to get into that, why I think people are crazy about it. I remember the days of 119 days, 125 days for Golden Age. One of the things that, if you don't know this, a lot of the professional pressers, and I don't knock this, no, DS is a great presser, but the guys who do this in the massive amounts, they actually don't have they have modern, but they also tier it not just in the value of the book, but the actual era of the book.
Yeah.
Golden Age, for example, is a different thing. So when I was getting into this, a lot of people on some of the CGC boards, what we've talked about says maybe Golden Age should have their own tier and their own people, because a lot of people are upset that Golden Age books are being graded. And that's one of the things that I've heard people talk about, especially from some of the pressers, the big ones. They are hammering Silver and Golden Age books because they've got so many new graders, and they have, that they are treating them like modern books where you kind of were subjective. It's a subjective process, but a 9.8 of a modern won't look like a 9.8. It should, but it won't. The grading tier and what's been hammered on by these big time keys and where people are getting frustrated now, the reason why pushes in there is the FOMO, fear of missing out, of the peak moment of that book at that time. We all know currently the GameStop of the comic industry is West Coast Avengers 45, right? Or whatever. Is that the right one, the number? I have it.
It's 45.
I'm not breaking up the entire run just to sell that book.
Yeah, the White Vision one.
Yeah, I mean, I have that. Technically, that's not even the first one. If you look at the Avengers, I have the West Coast Avengers signed by Bob Hall, where it's drawn in there. And I'm not getting rid of it because Bob's a local guy, and he was the editor and artist on that book. And it was specifically done. And I hate to wake up everybody. That's just the first. You have to read the stories to figure out what happened. And
well, I'll tell you, 85 to 90% of the consistent complaining about CGC. Look, CBCS is going to, if they grab 50% of the market, they're going to get 50% of the complaining. That's just how it works. Right now, it's whoever's at the top getting all the publicity is going to get all the complaints too. So it's coming CBCS way as they grab more market share. But here's the deal. 85 to 90% of the consistent complaining about CGC is being done by modern submitters. And that is because, number one, the modern spec market is much more fast-paced, and they need to get books graded and on the market and sell them before it drops back down. And the turnaround times don't always meet their needs for the fast-paced nature of the modern spec game. Now, that's just because the modern spec game is moving up and down like crazy every day. And the other thing is it's 9.8 market. So they're sending in all these pre-screens, and they want 9.8s on everything. And when they don't get a 9.8, CGC is not consistent. And then they're slabbing millions of books. One of them has a hair in it. One of them's not perfect. They made a mistake on this. That gets blasted out on social media, and it carries more weight than the actuality of how often it happens. So not all, but most of the complaining is being done by modern tier submitters. Absolutely. That's what I view. People submitting gold are not out there complaining about the grading being inconsistent, complaining about the cases or the turnaround times. The more modern you get, the more complaining there is. And then as soon as you hit the modern books, I'm talking like the new stuff, then you get people complaining left and right how CGC sucks. And it's just, that's how it is. Look, the modern spec guys are never happy. I don't know what half of them are in the hobby, honestly, because all they do is sit around and complain most of the time, it seems like. And if that makes them happy, that's cool. But yeah, I don't hear the Golden Age collectors complaining about CGC or the turnaround times.
Nope.
Is this worth anything?
Complaining about flippers and scammers and all the complaining, it seems like, is being done in the modern spec game, which is a whole other market that's not really suited to the same things that the Golden Age market's suited to. The 40, 60-day turnaround for Golden Age, not that big of a deal. I mean, the book's not going to, lose 80% of its value while it's sitting at CGC.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's my rant about modern spec complainers.
It is, and that's why that was this whole thing. Is that's a good book. I actually like the West Coast Avengers very much.
Is this worth it?
I don't know.
Maybe next week. I don't know.
The fact that
West Coast Avengers.
Yeah,
I've never read a West Coast.
The reason why I like the West Coast Avengers is it actually was it's just different. It just wasn't the exact same thing. Scarlet Witch was definitely featured in there. Plus, it was
the John Byrne run. That was
right. The John Byrne Avengers run led directly into that 186, 187, and they had different. Yep, they had Rhodey in there.
There it
is.
There it is.
We're going to complain. We're going to get downvotes because you're touching $1 book.
Dude, a 9.8 of that is over $1,000. A 9.8 of that's going for like $1,400. I'm serious. If you got a 9.8, send it in. But then this is what happens. you'll be waiting for it to come back in turnaround time, and you'll be complaining how long it's taking. That's what I'm saying right there.
Right, and then you're gonna wish you had the Falcon spec books of whatever people are coming out with.
I'll watch the value drop.
I mean, I have taken
get up on eBay.
Yeah.
I have taken the advantage of the market myself, and this is the way where we are here. But like, I open up my Golden Age. I read the 10 book the other day, and it's not even with the backing board because I like the back of it too much. I read this Tarzan book, and it's a very early Dell. It's one of the earliest ones, but I just enjoyed reading it. I was just sitting there, let me read this book a little bit. And I was talking to somebody who goes, "Oh man, I've never never opened up a Golden Age." Yeah, that's actually that is like around Avengers 223 times. See, the West Coast Avengers was simultaneous. It's a good read. I mean, I think people should read that book.
The only ones that had bags were these two.
Yeah, those anniversary when I was trying to collect a run of those, and this was years ago when I wasn't wanting to spend more than like $100 on a book. And when I saw the Care Bears value, I was like, you know what? Forget it. It's not. Well, I'm not trying. I was trying to pay like $5-10 for nice copies, and then I saw
real crazy.
That one's super tough, man. That was like a kid book, so only kids had it, and they destroyed it like little kids do. And yeah, super tough book to find a high rate. There's another one that's kind of tough too. I can't remember which one it is, but I think the Care Bears is the toughest. But those are real cool. I really like X-Men 211, the Wolverine with the half. It's the Mutant Massacre storyline, and half his mask is torn off, and it's got the anniversary border. That's a really cool book. Yeah, I like that one too. That's cool.
Pretty good. I think I have that one you're talking about.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Yes. I knew the guy who had the original art for that cover.
Oh,
he sold it on Comic Link, and it went for $50,000.
You all want to go after the West Coast Avengers? There's a lot. Look at this one. This is the better book.
Oh yeah, I remember that book.
This is the better storyline. This is a way better book. The Ultimate Vision, and I have the whole storyline in the Ultimate Vision. That's a good book, and this is signed by Bob Hall. And I asked Bob to sign it, and he's like, "Why?" I said, "This is the best Vision cover." He goes, and he showed me the other ones but this has got, this is really good. First of all, Hercules is wearing clothes. I think that's great. You don't see him wear clothes a lot, so they dress him up, so it's a nice thing. So before we get into that, what the most ridiculous book I've sold recently was the Alf 48.
Yeah, that's a classic right there.
It yeah, that's a great cover, and that's still only $1. It was the Alf 48 when he it wins as Peter's least favorite book. The market on that was shockingly good, so I got a book graded. I got 2 grades less than I should have gotten, so I was what we call a CPR candidate. You can resuscitate it with a clean press and resubmit, or crack press and resubmit, depends on what you do. I always say clean press and resubmit because you got to crack it open anyway.
Does that have something to do with the Vision? I don't know.
I put out a
bunch of minor keys in the Avengers run, especially like Bronze Age Avengers run. There's tons of like unknown keys.
I have the whole.
Yeah, that's a key. That's first Taskmaster.
That's
cameo.
the Taskmaster cameo on the last page, and it's actually George Perez does a great job in that book.
It's a great cover.
It's a new stand that'll sell for a little premium. Yeah, I think I have another copy of that around here somewhere. Maybe I sold it. But yeah, that Avengers 195 is a pretty good book if you get like 9698 on it. It's pretty liquid, and it's for what you can pick them up, you can find those for a couple bucks.
See, these are the books here that I tell people that people are paying a lot of money for right now, but they're missing out the boat. So here's a Silver Age book that if you really want to speculate on this is the first time Magneto. It's pre-origin. It's way pre-origin. It's actually foreshadowing. This is the vision of the Vision, and this is one of Buscema's best works. I have a poster somewhere. This Defenders is heating up. Defenders 112. Yeah, and I have this John Byrne, one of the best covers of the run. And the second book here, this book is flying off the shelves right 186.
See that?
And then you got 171. I love this one. I don't know why. See, again, if you're into the storyline, this is the Shards of Crystal Doom. This is the time of the chaos magic, and headlights.
I looked for Harkness, whatever her name is, Agatha. Like a cool cover of her, because I like that last episode. Was pretty good, but there was no covers I liked. She doesn't look like she does in the show.
You want to pick up a dollar book to spec on just on cover alone? This is it. The Ultimate Vision. Now, the storyline here is that Vision, the body is useless right now because he gets hurt, and he comes back, and Monica Rambeau is figuring out what's going on. Everything that you see on the TV has been written about somewhere in a comic, and I'm thinking this might be one. It's my own opinion. It's $1. Go get it. It's a fun book.
Look, I do a lot of researching, but I'm not going to try and keep up with all this movie and TV spec and then go out and spend money on books that might end up never being worth anything. And they take up a lot of space, and that's time that I can devote to other things. Like, I feel like if I just pick up like bigger books far less frequently that are rock solid books, it's much better than I'm too old. I can't keep up on this modern stuff, and I don't have Disney Plus, so I'm not paying for it. I already have too much going on that I'm paying for. I'm not going to pay for that anyway, and so I'm not watching it, and so I'm out of the loop on that. I just see Instagram posts and YouTube videos on it.
So we're going to get Knights to set up the spinner rack real soon, but this C. Holmes actually read my mind. If you think speculation on anything is there, are we going to have the same effect in the Golden Age? Well, they're already expensive books to begin with, but like, here's where I got into it with a guy on, whether it be Facebook or Instagram or something like that, where a guy says, man, the modern tier is carrying comics. More people spending more money on books than ever before. I agree, but you'll never find a Golden Age in a dollar bin. And there are 25,000. That's one of my favorites right there. 25,000. It's just a great, that whole run. I mean, honestly, just the pre-Korvac saga or even the Korvac saga, that whole Avengers is one of my favorite. I love all those books. But the, what I was saying was that they're going to break 25,000 on ASM 300. At least officially graded at CGC alone. I have that book. That's within the next month.
Yeah.
25,000. Okay. You won't find 250 graded of any Golden Age. And I mean that.
But I'll tell you one thing, and this, I'm not doing a market report type thing, but another thing you just remind me of, JD, is there's some sports guys that I follow that lately are moving into comics, and I think that's part of why comics become more popular. A lot of people in other collectibles markets that are very unstable are looking at comics as the stable collectibles market, and a lot of them are moving over to comics. And I'll tell you, these sports cards guys are buying up like New Mutants 98, ASM 300s, and what they're saying in their community is get an ASM 300 and 9.8. It's rare. There's only 1,000 9.8s. Now, for us, that's a very common book. But when they're coming over, they're looking at it like, that's a rare book. There's only 1,000 9.8s. That's a good one to grab in a nice stable market, and it's a hot book. Because they have cards that have 50, 60, 80, 100,000 on their census in like PSA 10s, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then they're seeing one of ours is like 1,000 in 9.8 for them. They think it's rare. So there's a lot of people in other collectibles markets. There's guys that invest across collectibles and antiques. And a lot of that, there's a lot more interest in those guys coming over to comics because we have a much more stable market. And, the MCU, what C. Holmes' comment here on the screen still, look, I think it's clear by now. There's been enough years have gone by that I think it's clearly established, almost a rule at this point, that movie and TV spec is pretty much, now there's exceptions to every rule, but the rule seems to be now at this point that TV and movie spec is limited basically to Marvel stuff. The DC spec is not there, and what is there is dropping off even more. The other spec's really not there. There's some image stuff that pops. You're still going to get pops here and there when stuff's announced. But the hardcore movie and TV spec is Marvel at this point. And it's because the MCU has just been phenomenally awesome, and DC stuff sucks.
I think some of it is a lot of the DC stuff originates in the Golden Age, so those books aren't gonna like spike. You know what I mean? Whereas Marvel is a lot of bronze and a lot of silver. Even the silver keys had a lot of. They could move because
I know, but I mean, they have when you do like Batman with all the different Batman villains, Batman characters. I don't see those things popping off like the Marvel stuff does when they do new Batman related stuff, Harley Quinn related stuff.
Oh, it's already expensive.
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't get any more exciting when they do movie and TV stuff.
Well, Wonder Woman did.
Wonder Woman definitely popped in the Golden
Age. And I'd say Batman #1 has just
that's one of the
way more young people are into that book.
Well, I'm not sure that All-Star 8 or Wonder Woman or Sensation 1 have increased in value with regard to any of the Wonder Woman movies. Now, they've gone up in value, but I think it's just coincidental. Golden Age keys are going up in value, and those are going up in value.
Well, they went up a lot.
I don't think Wonder Woman movies getting somebody to go out and spend $20,000 on a Golden Age Wonder Woman. That's not already
number 6. Wonder Woman 6. Yeah, remember, buy on the rumors, sell on the trailer. But the
Wonder Woman 6 went up with the cheetah.
Yeah, it went up significantly. It's always been a very hard book to find. 6, 7, 8, and 9 have always been the Wonder Woman run. Even the early ones, it's easier to find a 1, 2, 3, and 4 than it was and a 5 than it always was a 6, 7, 8, and 9.
And see what Jeff's saying. Yeah, I mean, but see, Showcase 4 and Showcase 22. I mean, those are major books.
I agree with Showcase 22,
and I feel like as they're rising, when a movie comes out and they keep rising, people will say that's why. And I'm not convinced that books of that caliber are rising more because of the movies. I could be wrong, but I'm just not convinced. And if it is, it's minimal. I think. I don't think there's. The further back you go into the Golden Age to big keys, I think the less the movie stuff really affects it. I think the movie stuff has the massive effects on silver, bronze, copper type stuff.
What about this? Is it this one?
But I could be wrong. I mean, I don't.
Saving all my what ifs. That's all I'm saying.
Is it this? I don't remember which one.
That's not Dark Seed.
I don't know which one it is.
The only one that counts is Forever People. That stupid one with the Spider-Man. A Superman on his back. He's in a TV show.
I'm just pointing out ones that.
Yeah, that might be the DC ones that would pop. Would be, I agree with you, the Forever People. I mean, I kind of think the Doom Patrol did pop a lot, and it's the best thing DC did. My personal opinion is the Doom was the best thing DC ever did. It's funny, it's irreverent, and it's done well. If you don't watch Doom Patrol, find a place to watch it. But those guys are gonna hit DC once they're done with getting all the Marvel stuff. Oh, I know. I mean, I expected Showcase 2022 has a big future. I do think that book, but it already is. It's always been pricey. And Showcase 4, I mean, if you ask me a top 10 book between 19 post Golden Age, I always Showcase 4 there. I mean, I think it's a great book. First of all, you will not see those in high grade. Most of the time, that red is faded. It's a much harder book to find in a high grade than any of the Marvels, and I mean any of the Marvels. Showcase 4 is probably the hardest to find in extremely high grade of any Silver Age book because.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: so the market right now is insanely hot. I mean, books have doubled over the course of a month. We would probably all agree that the DC stuff is not even close to as hot as the Marvel stuff. The Marvel Silver, the Marvel Bronze, that stuff is red hot. The DC stuff is just not. It's moving up a little bit incrementally, but the Marvel stuff's blowing it out of the water. So why is there such a difference between the two in a market that's this red hot? And I'll tell you, it's because the MCU has brought so much interest and attention to the market that has brought over a lot of people who wouldn't normally be into comics to look at our market, to start investing in the market, and they're just going after Marvel stuff because that's what they see the comic market right now is. The silver, the bronze, the copper, it's Marvel. That's the interest.
That's what I was
generated. The DC stuff, there's no outside interest being generated on DC stuff. It's still good. Those keys are still good gainers, and it's a stable market. But the Marvel stuff is just red hot, just off the charts. And it's because the combination of the MCU and the Marvel characters and the interest that is generating for comics is generating it for Marvel characters and Marvel keys. And the DC stuff is being left behind. It doesn't have that extra engine generating interest and popularity like the MCU. And that's why I think there's
that just shows the stability of
a wrench in that engine and add the Teen Titans movie or a Nightwing movie.
I think it shows the stability of the golden age, I think, because you even had a More Fun 73, whatever, the
first Aquaman.
Yeah, I mean that went up. But I feel like, it's like a good stock, like Apple or I don't know anything about stocks, but I'm under the impression that if it's established, always you're gonna keep raising a little bit slowly. Like that's golden age is for the superheroes is already like that. So even if there's spec or whatever, it's not gonna make it like double in price or triple or whatever these other books are doing. It's just gonna make it stronger, in the long run.
The golden age stuff is just it's blue chip stuff, and the scarcity for collectibles has for comic books has a big effect on price, and that is directly related to demand. If you have a really scarce book with no demand, it won't have any value. So you need to have demand outpacing supply to keep it valuable and going up. And when you get back in the golden age, you don't need much demand because the scarcity's there. There just are not very many copies of More Fun 73. So you only need a handful of demand. So when a book comes up, there's some competition and the price goes up. That's going to happen with or without an MCU or movies or whatever. And those are big books. But I think people that are in the market that have money that are really want high-end golden age collectibles are going to look at these books regardless. Are they looking at a Wonder Woman 6 specifically because of that crap movie that came out with Cheetah in it? I don't think so. But if you look at Wonder Woman 6 on GPA, there's like one title per 4 years. There's not enough data to judge if that's going up or down.
Go after the movie, the sucky movie comes out.
Yeah, well, that's
before, right when you hear, it's going to be the cheetahs or villain. That's when it.
Yeah, but I don't think Wonder Woman 6 popped with that announcement.
And with that one in particular, it got even harder to find because there just weren't any to begin with.
There's one on the market ever anyway. I mean, there's a couple.
Yeah, 6 is the. 6 has always been. Wonder Woman 6 has always been. It's a white cover that's absolutely hard to find in a good grade.
I wanted it for a while, and then when I found out she was going to be in the next movie, it was like, forget it now.
You get it now. Well, yeah, it went from a. It actually hit some. It rivaled a lot of early Supermans and Batmans for a while in the beginning. Now that's the thing that does happen. I mean, do you get the one since there's no season 2? The sustaining power of those books is about as good as the penny stocks. It's speculation is what it is. Now, when I talk about the golden age being the ones that are the blue chips and your Marvel keys and your DC keys, I think your Showcase 22, your Showcase 4, and of your non-golden age era people. But we've seen records in DC characters very recently. All America 61 just hit new highs across the board. I've seen more, and that's what's going to happen. You're going to see more books hit the market, truly rare. And if you want to know what the difference is if you like a cardiac environment, the versus a steady Eddie, you just have to go with the life and the scarcity of the era. Golden Age has always been this. Silver Age is a little bit more like this. Bronze Age is a little bit more like this. Copper a little more. But when you get to today's modern, when the book isn't even out yet, and it's going to be worth a lot more money because somebody did a cover and there's apparently a first appearance of a potato that has a gender, everything goes crazy.
Yeah.
You know, everything goes crazy. And that's the weird thing that we're going through.
I don't know. My opinion, and I welcome somebody to prove me wrong on a Wonder Woman 6. Go find data, go prove it to me, and show me that the announcement and the stuff leading up to that movie caused that book to go up. I don't see it. I think people just think that because that's what happens with Marvel books. I don't think that's what happened with Wonder Woman 6. Am I wrong? I've been wrong before, but I mean, show me, convince me, because there's just not even enough data to know whether that's the case. And, you know, before this movie, Wonder Woman 6 was a book I know people that were looking for already. It's a coveted Golden Age. If you're a Wonder Woman collector in the Golden Age, that book's on your list. It was on your list before. It's still on your list. I didn't see a rush out to go find these, and none come to market anyway to even judge.
So let's do 2019 and 2020, Wonder Woman 6.
I mean, if you look on GPA, I've looked on GPA for this. There's like one or two sales over the last 5 years. There's no data. No,
there are a ton after the announcement of Cheetah. Wonder Woman 6 in 19. You had a 4.5. You had a 4.0 sell for 5,900 and a 5.0 sell for 4,700 in June of 19, and an 8.5 sell for 16,800 in August of 19.
Yeah, I know, but is the price higher? What's the ones before that? What are you comparing?
I'm going to go with the announcement of the Cheetah. Was that July that came out?
I don't know.
In 2020, there was books sold in June, July, August, September here, and we're going to go highs. The 8.5 actually went down to 12,000, but the 9.2 hit the 20%.
25% drop.
Right. It was a big drop on that one. But the books that did move at a higher rate were the 3.5s and the 2.0s that were going for $1,000 the year before were going for $2,000 and $4,000. Again, they're rare books to find, and only 4 of the 5 of their. But the biggest thing that I've seen that happen is the 0.5s are selling for over $1,000, when 0.5s were selling. They were always around 1,000, but
yeah, but you know, if you look at a Black Cat Mystery 50 chart, it's exactly the same. If you look at
it is.
If you look at a Action 2, it's the same deal. I mean, you can look at any Golden Age book and it's the same gains. And I just don't think the gains on that book are tied to anything other than just Golden Age gains. That's what I'm saying. All the books in the period that has gone up have also gone up. All the pre-code horror books, the L.B. Cole stuff, the Matt Baker, the romance, the action, the whiz, all that stuff's gone up. And 6 went up too. So how is that tied to the movie is what I'm saying. All the stuff has gone up. That as a group, Golden Age has moved during that period of time. You're talking from 2019 to 2020. Man, gold's starting to take off at that point. And then all of 2020, it's hot and stuff's really setting records. So that's the point you're saying that, you know, Wonder Woman 6 has gone up. Yeah, everything was going up. And I know because I was selling into it. I don't know, but I'm just saying
more came to market. More came to market. But the other thing that I brought up, the All American 661. It's so rare that they. And one was on recently that I put a really competitive bid down. I thought of on a 3.0. I went to $1,200, and then I went to $1,500 a point. So I put $4,500 bid out there. It sold for $7,000. I was so far off on that one.
What the?
All American 61, first Solomon Grundy.
You know, DS, I don't deal. You know, I'm not a huge DC guy myself, but I do remember a lot of chatter about that More Fun 73 going up because of the Green Arrow TV show and like.
Man, are you serious? That book is massive and rare. The Green Arrow TV show is going to have zip to do with the More Fun 73. I just know it has not. That book is a massive, rare, all-time grail on Golden Age.
Modern characters.
will affect it.
So,
what about DC modern characters? Like,
what would you have to see? Quadruple?
I would want to see enough data where I see a spike with the announcement and then a light correction after the movie. That would tell me that the movie was having an influence. But More Fun 73 is setting records. I mean, that book's rare and massive. And I don't, you can't say that book is selling for $85,000 because there's an announcement for a Green Arrow show. I mean, I'm not buying that. Let me ask you this, just off the top of your head. What's the hottest DC book right now? Like if I asked you Marvel, you'd say Giant Size, FF48, X-Men 1, UF4. So what's the hottest DC book?
It's got to be that.
Probably Tech 31.
No, I'm going to say the hottest DC book has got to be that Harley Quinn.
Oh, well, I don't know modern stuff.
But that's what I'm saying.
There's no excitement or answer to that question. That's my point. What's the hottest Marvel book? GSX 1, X-Men 1, FF48, Ultimate Fallout 4. I mean, the hits just keep on coming. And if I ask somebody what's the hottest DC book right now, it's like, well, I don't know, maybe Harley Quinn. It's like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. There's two different markets going on. And the reason is because there's an MCU engine, not necessarily propping up the books, but generating a ton of interest of other people coming into the market, and they're just going to the Marvel stuff. Yeah, I don't know. That's
saying DC sucks and Marvel's cool.
No, DC books are good and they will appreciate in value. They're good investments, but they're just not having these red hot, like Guinness World Record increases week over week like Marvel stuff is. But I mean, if you look at Batman 232 or the Silver Age DC stuff, I mean, that stuff's moving. It's increasing. It's going up, but it's on its own track. It's like on a track as if there were no MCU and Marvel. The Marvel stuff would be on that track too. And they were both tracking the same. And they have started to split ever since the MCU was generating all this power for Marvel. And the DC did at first, and the people realized it sucks. And so there's no confidence in DC, the DCU engine. It's just sputtered out and nobody cares about it anymore. The MCU engine is going strong and pulling Marvel along with it. And DC is just left to its regular gains that it would have had anyway. And they're still good, but they're not matching Marvel's.
But what if I'm kind of thinking of the modern stuff only now. What if there was a next Batman solo film was a Nightwing story? You don't think Tales of the Teen Titan 44 would fly off the shelves way more than this costume change by Vision?
Yeah, it would. But when you get into books that are in the modern spec target range where they're cheap and they're plentiful, anything makes those move. Some random ass image book gets optioned. The book explodes for 1,000% value. It's smaller books. There's lots of them out there and they're affordable. So you have a lot more people that can affect huge movements in smaller books that are plentiful. But yeah, if you have a new Batman movie announced that features
Constantine movie,
32 is not going to spike. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
It's already, yeah. I mean, but if you have the Nightwing, if you have the Justice League Dark, people brought up that
modern stuff. Anything spikes in
the movie. I expect the Man-4 to show up. There are books out there that DC you can play. I don't really like playing the spec game. I like collecting for what it is. But nothing beats like a Marvel. And one thing we haven't even talked about in the Marvel world is the character, like why I chose Nightwing is because we got Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales right.
But Miles Morales,
those two characters are all trading a very. Yeah, I personally think the Miles Morales, the one that I personally think is the best book, regardless of value. And I'm a big Marco Djurkovic fan, but a $21,000 price because we did. The book I think that is the coolest is the one that what's her name? The Pacelli cover, where it's just him lifting up his
the mask.
Here, it's just me and
He's roboing to me.
Yeah, he is roboing a little bit.
And
don't do drugs.
Fourth printing. Oh,
JD's stuck.
Bring up the.
I wanted to show this cool Japanese Superman I got.
JD, fix your
I got
connection and you'll be back. But yeah, that's a cool book. I remember you showed that to me. Yeah, real cool, man. Nice break too.
There's a white one that's a little bit harder to find, so I want to get that one. But yeah, this was $5, so I probably could get more than that for that. But
I like that it is era correct. It's a contemporaneous foreign printing of it. It's in the 70s.
I'm glad that it's the same relative comic size, because sometimes they'll be your typical weird Japanese sizes like this, or they could be thin, or the massive phone book version. But that was pretty cool. All right, is he gone?
Well, let me say something about UF4, Ultimate Fallout 4. That Jerkovich variant that sold for $20,000.
Jerkovich? Wait a minute. Did you say Jerkovich?
What's his name?
Marco DeJerkovich.
Whatever. Jerkovich. Okay. That variant sold for $20,000. That's crazy high. I think it's just a super rare variant of UF4, and I don't know who's buying that. Somebody with money is making a somewhat speculative investment on that. But Ultimate Fallout 4 itself, the first printing, yeah, there's a lot of them. But as far as modern keys, there's a lot of buzz that's not movie related about Miles Morales. And it's a lot of people who are just buying it because they think a lot of people are going to be buying it, yes. But there's also a lot of people buying it for their kid, or their kid's really into Miles Morales. It's a legit character that Marvel's committed to, and I think there's legit interest in that character's first appearance. And a 9/8's going for $2,000. Is that crazy? I mean, it sort of sounds like it, but I mean, the first Venom is way more of those out there. I feel like that thing's going for $5,000. So first Miles Morales for $2,000 and 9/8. It's not so crazy. And what, X-Men 1 in a 4/5 went for $15,000. What's crazier? Do you know what I mean? An X-Men 1 in a 4/5 for $15,000, or a UF4 to 9/8 for $2,000. I mean, I feel like it's just as crazy as anything else out there. That prices are high. There'll be a correction, but that's a modern key, like probably the biggest modern key of the last. Will that come out 2011? So the last 10 years, that's probably the biggest modern key there is. I don't have a big problem with $2,000 for that book. I'm not going to buy one, but I wouldn't hold it against somebody that did want to buy that and hold it for 10 or 15 years as an investment. I think it's all right. Yeah.
What about that? Is it true that a Deadpool card from the one that's in X whatever Force number 1?
Yeah.
So
a Wolverine hologram card sold for $15,000. That Deadpool card in like PSA 10 is selling for like a couple thousand or something now.
Can't you get X Force number 1s with the card in it for
I used to give them away with every packet, everything I did. I had a stack of them. I bought 80 of them for $12.
I mean, isn't the Deadpool one a little bit rare? So you might have to pay $5 or something. I don't know.
There's millions of them, man.
I got plenty.
It's the sports cards guys who have latched on to the Marvel.
Right, they say that is not a lot of numbers compared to some of their stuff.
Well, it might not be compared to, some random ass new Prism card that comes out or something that's like manufactured artificial rarity or collectability. But the sports cards guys have flooded PSA with hundreds of thousands of these Marvel cards from the 1990s, early 90s. And so that's a lot of that's what I'm saying. There's people from other hobbies coming over and doing their thing now in the comic sort of world, and we're seeing it and we're not understanding it. The sports cards guys are buying these Marvel 1990s cards. They're doing box breaks. They're doing pack openings. They're sending submissions to PSA. They're throwing them on eBay. They're bringing them to card shows, and they're just going nuts on non-sports cards. And that market is insane, and it's mostly speculative. And there's no way demand is going to remain outpacing the supply of early 90s Marvel cards. There are millions and millions of those cards in mint condition. There's cases and cases of unopened boxes of early 90s Marvel cards. If you go on eBay, and I've done this recently, this is part of the research I've been doing. Go on eBay and look for the 1990s Marvel cards, Marvel Universe 1990 cards, unopened box, sealed box, which you wouldn't think there'd be that many, right? 30 years ago. There's tons of them, and they're selling for like 15 to 1,700 per sealed box, and it's just one after another, after another, after another, after another. And people are buying these up. They're cracking them open. They're pulling out the cards. They're sending them to PSA, and PSA is getting so backlogged, it's jacked up the whole grading system over there with these Marvel cards.
Beckett too?
Huh?
Beckett too?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, PSA doubled their rates because they had so much volume, and the thinking is that they're just trying to stop the submissions so they can catch up. So they doubled. It's like CGC if they doubled rates on all their tiers. That's what PSA just did. I think there are some legit non-trading cards that are good, like 80s properties, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cards, or G.I. Joe, or Masters of the Universe, or Nintendo cards. I think some of the 80s properties that they're a lot more scarce than 90s Marvel cards. You get into the 90s and the Marvel's cards and the comic book cards are just all over the place. But the 80s properties, try to find a sealed Masters of the Universe card set. Rare, man. That thing's freaking impossible. So there's quite a few out.
So that means because I used to do a little baseball hunting cards, like old mantles and stuff, and I'd go to these like mall shows and whatnot. There'd always be one guy who was like, well, these guys have all their baseball, but I got the weird stuff. So those guys must be rolling in the cash now because they had all the crazy like stuff.
Yeah, they probably are.
Garbage Pail Kids, I heard, are picking up steam again.
I heard that.
Garbage Pail Kids are pretty hot. You know what else is hot? People have been paying a lot for the Batman 1966 cards. There's not a lot of those out there, and a high grade Batman PSA card from 1966 is commanding a pretty good premium. Now that has legit scarcity. There's not a lot of those out there. So there's interest in cards. There's interest in 80s properties. There's interest in superheroes. If you find card sets of those that were not mass-produced, artificial collectability type stuff, I think they're decent investments. If you have like a PSA 10 of a Garbage Pail Kid from like Series 185, I think that's all right. I would stay away from 90s Marvel and comic book stuff because they're all over the place. I don't know. And that's me. I just been researching it lately, and that's just my thoughts on it.
Really cool point.
I have one Garbage Pail Kid somewhere. The like Atom Bomb or whatever.
I had
that's an Atom Bomb is the most expensive one.
Is it? It's
not,
and that's for sure.
Scary Mary. I had a lot of them. Do we have our spinner rack? Want to do?
Yeah, we got it.
All right, let's do like a little bit of it, but I'm gonna have to.
We got this.
Yeah.
All right. Let me share this. We got some great books. So remember, we're doing this is the it's the years 51 through 54.
Yep.
Of February.
Yes.
And let me share my screen here. Damn it.
The only thing that's going up higher than any of that stuff is ammo. Just telling you right now.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous right now.
One last thing on this. Golden Age Gurus pointing out a guy named Gary V, the sports cards guy. There's another guy in Vegas, Dave, and those two kind of have a social media spat going back and forth. There's guys like Logan Paul with the Pokemon cards. There are personalities and in the card world that are massively popular, and they're like celebrities that transcend even just sports cards. Other people in other areas of social media know of them, and they're pumping up stuff. They're trying to outduel each other by selling the biggest card, by buying the biggest thing, televising box breaks, and card openings and generating tons of hype. That stuff leads to a very unstable market when you have that level of hype going on in a market. Because there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes over there too, with those, especially with those main personalities. You go over to comics. Okay, what do we have? Do we have a similar type thing?
Yes.
I mean, we have, yeah, but not to that level. We have CBSI, we have Comic Tom, we have Key Collector app.
Oh, they're nothing
compared to tens of thousands of people. These guys have millions of followers in the card world. It's a massive hype bubble going on. Over here, we have a little bit, and there's a resistance against it. There's a lot of people that are just going against it, and it's not this massive hype machine in comics as much as it is in cards. Trust me.
Right, but what there is there's more. Here's the thing in comics. I don't think people that we realize, because that's what this is what we do in Golden Age. That Batman 1 sale, the Action Comic 1 sale, the people that bought those books, I've been in contact with a few of the high-end buyers. They're not even close to being done. And there's a lot of speculation and a lot of discussion about what's the next book that they haven't seen break 1 million yet. And there is massive amounts of books that are going to start breaking records that are Golden Age, that are rare, that are known, that we haven't seen sell in some time. Some of the rarest ones, even the ones we've talked about on this show, the ones with 10 to 20 of the same issue are ready to go. And there's some people of 1 or 2 books I know of the Fantastic 3. I know one person who watched the show who reached out to me who said, hey, I think I'm ready to bring this thing to market. It's probably at least an 8.5, if not higher. If that thing hits the market, that will go for $1 million.
What book is it?
Fantastic 3.
Oh yeah, I mean but see, the rarity on that is
the Church. The Edgar Church is just this is what's weird. Everybody's like, well, the Church copy is going to be the best copy. The Church copy is the highest graded copy currently, but there are a lot of ungraded comics out there that we are going to see hit the markets. And there's been rumors of another collection been found. Not even rumors, it's a fact. There's another collection that's been found in the South that I'm nervous about the humidity, but I've heard that it is every single DC comic that guy was willing to sell the last time. That's not everyone that he has. There's a guy with multiples of things. Now, I want to see the Marvel one. I want to see the big books. I want to see if they're really going to do this. But I think we're going to see over the course of the next 2 to 4 years, or next year, throughout this year and the next 4 years, we will see no less than 20 different books break, or at least I'm going to say 20 different books over the next 5 years will break $1 million. Separate books, not 5 Cap 1s or 4 Tech 27s, 5 different books. I'm thinking 20 different books will break $1 million, because there are some people talking about some of this collections and stuff that people haven't even thought about. Back in a warehouse in the back of a pharmacy, that building was sold. These books have been kept in plastic lucite since the 80s and 90s. This means that these were collectors that just got into baseball cards, got into something else, and now's the time to hit the market with this. Now, they don't like dealing with grading companies, and these people probably don't press and grade comics.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not going to hit the market unless it's graded.
That's the whole point. They won't. That's where someone's going to put out the cash who's made enough money to buy the books and put them out. Now, there's going to be alternatives in the future, I think, as well. The Burke, there's a lot of John Burke collection that's not graded. There's a lot that's graded and a lot that's not been graded. So that's another example.
Great for the hobby when a book sells for over $1 million, because it generates a lot of popularity and a lot of interest, a lot of headlines across the country just in the news. And look, there's a lot of people who invest in collectibles, and yes, they like to collect them, but it's fun to invest and deal in stuff that you also like. And it generates a lot of interest in it as a legit investment vehicle when you see headlines of comic books selling for $1 million. That's just the fact of it. And there's a lot of places you can invest, and real estate, stock market, Pokemon cards, comic books. I think it's good for the hobby when a book sells that high. It brings a lot of interest and a lot of money and a lot of notoriety to the hobby, and it generates demand and it increases the values, and it's just overall good for the hobby and the market. I think you're right. I mean, I remember when the AF-15, what was it, a 9.4 or something, a 9.6, sold for over $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't that long ago. That was a few years ago.
I remember the first time Action 1 sold for $1 million. I remember the
Action 1. Everybody knows Action 1, but AF-15, it's Silver Age, it's Spider-Man. It's like it's not on the same class as Action 1, and then that broke $1 million, and it's like, wow, a Spider-Man book broke $1 million. That was a different level. And it's good for the hobby to see books like that getting a lot of money in auction.
$1 million doesn't go very far nowadays.
$1 million doesn't?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's the median house price here in Seattle. I think it's over that now, actually.
Well, we're like 1/5 of that over here.
Oh man,
you take $1 million, you can buy a few houses over here. Decent houses, not crappy. Well, you can buy decent houses here for a quarter of that.
Yeah,
that's nice.
All right, we ready to do this?
Yep, I'm sharing my thing, so
let's do it. Okay,
and if an X-Force card is going for what, 2,000?
I don't know. I'll check what the most recent one was.
Like, that means if I was like a store or whatever, and I had some nice golden age that was like 1,500, I would mark that stuff way the hell up, because there's no way in hell I'm gonna make an X-Force card be worth more than like a pretty rare key golden age comic.
Hey, I'll give you a tip. You want to make a quick buck? I've yet to see this on the market. I've researched. I have not found any listed or any sold or anything. But I did some research, and it was not as easy as one might think to find what was the first Miles Morales card. Okay, and I found the pack that has the very first Miles Morales card in it, the Miles Morales rookie, and it has him on the front, and the typical front of the card.
You better buy a lot of it.
The back of the card has a picture of the UF4 cover, and then his stats with his name and everything. And it's the first Miles Morales card. I've yet to see one sell. I've yet to see one listed. I've yet to see anybody advertise it or really know. But I'll tell you, it is. I'll tell you exactly which one it is. If you want to go spec and just go pick one of these.
Patreon, they have to sign up for our Patreon account.
No, I don't have a Patreon account. Let me just show you.
I'm just kidding. We don't have one of those.
It's this. It's Marvel Beginnings Series 3. This has the first Miles Morales card in it.
Awesome.
So yeah, I bought one of these sealed boxes just in case. They're not that expensive. I just picked one up. Now, it's not some long-term investment, but when word gets out that the Miles Morales rookie card is in here, you watch what happens.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
It'll be easy few $100 I'll make on this. Maybe more. Who knows? Shit could go to the moon. But yeah, Marvel Beginnings Series 3 has the first Miles Morales card. Miles Morales rookie right there. You heard it here first.
If any millionaires are listening, if I was one, I would.
By the way, the Miles Morales book that I like the most is the one my son likes the most. Is this one. So that's the first Miles Morales. It's just the second printing variant. Harder to find. But all right, let's get this thing going.
Yeah, here's a Deadpool promo sold for $9,000, but I don't know if it was an error or whatever. But whatever, most of them are selling like $30 to $100 raw, whatever.
I was gonna say, if you invest in people, I would, and I was a millionaire, I would say, hey, DS, all right, here we go. I'm gonna give you $5 million. Find some stuff. We'll share the profits.
Well, you got Miles Morales rookie card.
Someone should do
Cannabis stocks, and 3D printer stocks. There you go.
Cannabis stocks, 3D printer stocks, absolutely. And if you want to know where to get it, you're a good call. Another thing about that stuff, I will say that
3D printers,
3D printing, is you look at companies that print the chips that do the printing. That is actually harder to find, and those they are able to print, the metals.
Yeah.
That is very, very lucrative. But
Well, there's a company I was investing in. I made some money on it, but I bought it at $6 a share. It's a 3D printing company, and they do metal printing. But they do it all at once, where you don't have to remove it and reset it to do other parts of it. They had a way you could just do it all at once, a one-off printing metal parts. I bought it at $6. It went up to $10, and I sold it. This is like a few months ago. It went all the way up to $50. So I missed out on a shit ton of money. It's at like $38 now or whatever, but that one exploded. There's other ones though. 3D printing stocks have a lot of applications in healthcare, printing off little parts. It's pretty good. I don't know. 3D printing, cannabis stocks are pretty good.
All right, let's spec some 1950s books.
Let's do it.
It's a hell of a lot cooler than any of that other crap.
It is.
Except
Definitely.
maybe this cover. I don't know. I'm not digging this one that much, but I don't know.
Could be a Nick Cardy cover.
Human head kind
No,
of.
not Nick Cardy. What's his name? Ken Bald.
Ken Bald.
Not good.
Now,
Oh, it's all right.
Pulp.
That's pretty cool.
This is actually a pretty sought after book by the
Yes,
Pulp.
it
Company.
Is it going up?
I'd buy
I
it.
bet it is, because I've been following a couple of these Ziff Davis painted covers, and every time I see them, they go for a little more. So they are gaining popularity.
How many could you get for one X-Force rookie Deadpool card?
Oh, I don't know. I would trade any number of Deadpool cards for one of these.
Oh, God. I thought, this was interesting. And maybe I just never noticed, but 1951 seemed to have a bunch of like Indians kind of taking center stage, and just like this, like they're like he's the main character chopping up the old status quo or whatever. But I thought that was interesting. Oh, I love this one. This is a great one. Astonishing.
That's a pretty good one. Is that a Bill Everett cover? Actually?
Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah. I like this title, and this part of the run's pretty cool. This one's not really on my list to pick up, but every time I see it, I like it.
That would go great with that. Oh God, what is it? Flame or something, where they have a bunch of skulls like that on the cover. Is it the Flame?
No, Wonderworld.
Wonderworld, yeah.
Oh, Wonderworld, yeah, good book.
Yeah, Wonderworld 12. Is it 12?
That would be a cool pairing.
Yeah.
Big Town. Oh, well, I saw Fire and I was like,
that Fire is good.
Cool. It is kind of funny because it reminds me, my grandmother, some of my family grew up in the Bronx in the 20s and 30s, and my grandmother told stories about putting a plank of wood in between the buildings to be able to sneak to a friend's house and stuff, and they go back and forth.
That's cool.
Pretty wild. Let's see. I think some of the rendering on this cover is great. I mean,
Is Seth Simon?
I don't think so.
Oh.
But look at if you take the kid's face out of it, like the bikes and stuff, that's really nice.
Nice.
And I never even thought about this title at all.
I've never seen it before. I don't know.
Nice, a really nice Kirby and Simon cover.
That's the book I was thinking of.
They have some great group shots. I don't know if there's anyone who's really did group covers as well as them at all.
They did a lot of them. That's for sure.
Yeah. Schomburg had a lot of guys on his covers, but computer is wigging out. Let's go. No. All right. Well.
All right, and there's our spinner rack for tonight.
There we go.
Dumbass Adobe. I don't know. It might come back to life, but if it does, okay. All right. Let's try this again. I'm not impressed with this Adobe Lightroom here. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm not gonna use. All right. All right, I like this one. This is a what? Johnny Craig.
Johnny Craig.
Water cover. I don't. Does he do a lot of the water covers? I feel like I ask this all the time.
I don't know. I mean, it's the EC stuff I don't collect, but I like it. It's just not rare enough for me to be interested. So I don't know a lot about them. I just know who the artists are, but I don't know who did what themes. I know Jack Davis is pretty well known for his werewolf type covers. I don't know.
All right. Well, usually you get glass bottles with babes in them, and they're pretty cool. But I'm struggling to.
What number is that? Number
one. Yeah.
That might be Wally Wood.
It might be. That's the first of the ongoing. There was an Eerie one in 47. That was the one-shot first horror book.
I don't know if that's a Wood.
Wood did a lot of the early Eerie's. I'm not kidding you.
Then he must have. I mean, there's a couple of his books in this spinner rack, and it's not too far from this. And he must have. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't give that to Wood, but I like this Porky Pig cover though.
Of course.
Pretty classic. Look how minimal that is on the top. It's nice.
Yeah,
that's hard to find and grade.
Cool sci-fi book.
When are we Frisky Animals? Yeah.
Here's a nice elephant for you.
Yeah, that's the circus elephant.
That is probably an LD Cole cover, right? Do you see a signature?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I see it. I see it on the left, bottom left, right over Giant.
Yeah, if I found one of those with good color and good white up top, I would totally buy it.
Yeah,
I love picking those up. And then I clean them up, I slab them, I sell them. But they're so fun to get and read and just enjoy for a minute. I really like those.
My God, what is happening to my holy wow.
It's like the Big Bang Theory.
That was intense. Okay. I'm telling you, Adobe, pick up their stock. Okay, this is I never liked this guy, but it's starting to grow on me. You know, it just, I don't know, grouped with all the other stuff in this time period, I feel like maybe, and what was it, Kurtzman? He's
maybe Kurtzman.
He's really got something different than everyone else, and I could see how he kind of, you know, goes off on his own and makes something pretty special. It stands out. It looks cool. It's great tone work in there. Great blacks. I really like this. It's not really I don't know if you'd call it a war book, but I mean, I guess it is a war book, but
yeah, but
cartoon kind of satire.
In the Atom Age war book sort of market, it's Atlas and then everything else, and this is part of the everything else. But they are cool. But again, as an EC book, they're not hard to find.
Yeah.
So that kind of hurts it a little bit.
Does he have a following like because you know it reminds me of Crumb a little bit.
Yeah, Crumb, yeah.
Like, does he kind of go into that territory where people...
I think he did a satire book also. So you can see it has a little bit of a comedic almost element to almost like a mad look to it. You know what I mean?
Barrett says half horror, half war book on that one.
It's cool. He has his own style. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's distinctive.
See, here's another one. Center stage on the murderous battle, Geronimo on the warpath. And this was very short-lived, I believe.
I actually had that book.
Where, you know...
My dad only collected these.
The Indian going on the murdering path.
My dad collected that I think it's Avon. My dad, the only books my dad had were Indian Native American covers because he was a big Western guy and didn't like Chuck Connors much, apparently.
I like it. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of has that like that appeal that goes beyond, you know, like it's something to talk about, right? Like, oh, wow, you wouldn't see that nowadays or whatever, you know, and I feel like any book like that has a little bit more legs. Here's another one of those nice, I don't know if this is that's a Cole. I see it. Very nice. And any Cole with like all the stuff on the details on the side left there, of that bar, that's always awesome.
Some of these are notoriously impossible to find too. I have one at CBCS right now, Mighty Bear 14. There are none on the CGC census. There's like none on GPA, and I've never seen it before. So some of these LD Cold Kitty things are exceedingly rare. They just weren't kept.
It's a great one. Well, and yeah, and or if they were kept, which they probably were for generations, they were just read to hell.
Yeah, I mean, the Mighty Bear I sent in is probably a 2.0, maybe a 2.5, but it's beat up.
Yeah, I mean, I have
the runs were real high on these because Star Publications changed titles all the time. They kept the same numbering, and they always would change the titles. And I don't think there's heavy print runs on most of these Star books. I don't know. I hardly ever see. I don't think I've seen that one for sale before.
Jumbo, they had this publisher had a bunch of interesting kind of. I don't know. Do you call it? It's not like fully painted cover, but it's definitely got a painterly feel to it, or at least the shading of almost a painting.
Yeah, it's Maurice Whitman, I'm sure.
Yep.
And his stuff always looks like that. And I don't know if it is kind of like an in between the Ziff Davis painted stuff and the drawn comic books. It's like an in between, but all the Maurice Whitman covers always have that look. It's like a very shiny, liquidy look to them. Yeah,
almost Zila, but not quite. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Same like, and here they're doing it. It was like the month of that. This one, the cool elephant cover too.
The best one is the one JD has. You have that black cover, the one you got from me. Remember what is it?
159,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this was pretty nice artwork. Some blacks in there. The Mask. Oh, some sci-fi. Sci-fi's getting pretty popular at this point.
Rick Akers is in our chat. He loves Whitman.
This is a great cover.
Oh, he said Jumbo 159. Rick said, "Yeah, that's what I have." Yep.
That's the one you got from me. That black cover with the Whitman cover, the black one. That's such a cool. I think that's the best of the Whitman Jumbo. And that one's really tough to find. I feel like a lot of those other later Jumbos come around, and then that one I never see. And when I saw it, I picked it up, and then
I bought it.
But yeah, Rick, we were just talking about Jumbo 59. I picked one up. I never see it, and then JD got it off me, so he has it. So he's probably going to get it to show it. But that's the only one I've ever seen available, and I picked it up when I saw it, and JD has it. I think he's going to get it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Any Golden Age black cover, I'm all over it.
I like this one.
Not sure people too, probably.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that one is. He did Popular Teenagers, but I don't know for sure.
There's definitely aspects of it that really do look like him.
Here it is. I'll show it. I haven't changed the bag yet because it's on my list of things to do.
Yeah, I sent it to you in that shitty poly bag.
You do. Because you don't own Mylar.
Hey, I'm not spending money on Mylars. I spend enough money on books.
There you go. This is that book that we were talking about, 159 right here.
Yeah, that's real cool.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, thanks, by the way, DS, for giving me open up your space for the No Faces chat yesterday. Because
oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I caught half of it while I was driving.
Those guys are a blast.
It's a fun show.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a high pants.
Hot pants. She's working at Hooters.
Here's another one of those. Is this
the painted covers? A lot of them are also. There were pulps going on at this time too. Remember Jungle and there were pulps. They started doing those big time in 47 to like 52, around there. So a lot of mirrors another book. Yeah,
that's interesting. That's a pretty cool cover.
I love Strange Avengers books. A lot of these sometimes Gil Kane.
It's a pretty early book. I mean, for that kind of thing, I feel I would have expected this to be in the late 50s for some reason. I don't know why, but
yeah, the 59 run is great.
Yeah,
I love that Gil Kane. I love that whole run. Tim Holt.
I saw Skeleton, so I was like, well.
Yeah, this one I kind of sometimes I feel like I want it, and then I'm like, why do I want that? I don't want it. But it's cool. It's cool. I mean, look, a cowboy skeleton cover is cool. Do you know what I mean? I'll tell you, if I found one of these with really good colors, because it's got the reds and the yellows on there, and like a solid condition, 7.0, 7.5 with bright colors, I would definitely buy it.
Yeah. I don't think those spec guys, that we're talking about have the patience to look into this like we do, I feel if you have a passion for Golden Age, even to be listening still to this video, then you're gonna find some great stuff, and you won't go wrong because you'll be buying stuff you like. And
is that Dick Ayers cover?
I don't know. Here's a Venus.
Yeah,
that one's pretty cool. I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah,
pretty rare.
14, so that's right before the horror stuff started.
The only World's Finest that actually is there, but you need 3 of you.
Well, when I saw this, I use Mike's Amazing Comics site, which is the best, and the pictures are really small. But at first, I was like, "Ooh, that's gonna be some cool horror." Like they're burning her up or something, from afar. But this isn't too bad. I don't know. It's a little crazy, but I've seen a lot worse. For
what number is it?
Number 51.
51, so a little bit in. Yeah, all right, it's all right. I mean, it's cool that
it's
have
good for World's Finest. Let's be honest; they're not playing, pickup sticks or something.
Yeah, it's look, as far as World Finest covers goes, you can do worse.
Yeah. You could do worse with probably the issue before and the issue after,
And don't worry about all the 20 other people burning up in the other room. They'll be fine. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, me too. I had a 3.0 of this, 2.5 or 3.0. I had a lower grade copy of this, which is
it Burgess? It's Atlas, right?
It's an Atlas book, yeah. I don't know. There's some Atlas books that grab me, and they're just never worth anything. But when I see them and they come up and I'm in front of it, I'm like, man, I got to buy this. It's too cool. And I keep it for a while, and then I move it on, and then I buy other stuff that's the same thing. This one I've always liked a lot. I always thought it was super cool. It's like a giant shadow on the wall. Yeah. It's cool. And that blue up top and like scarlet of the bat. It's just, it's a really cool book.
And
I don't think it would even sell for that much, honestly.
It's scarier than a lot of the, I feel like they either hit a home run, and it's usually Everett or Burgos. They either hit a home run or
Russ Heath did a lot of those too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I think Manili and stuff. But
Joe Manili, yeah.
Sometimes they're really hokey and dumb. But I feel like this is a good example of you don't need to show some crazy thing to have a nice horror vibe.
Yeah, the horror, the PCH started out with a lot of implied scariness, a lot of shadows, and a lot of stuff where you didn't see the full stuff. And as PCH progressed into 54, especially in 54, it just flew the lid off, and they just went nuts. And that's where you get like the Black Cat and Chain of Chills, like the crazy shit. But it didn't start out like that. It was a lot more. It was like implied, and there was a feel to it, and it had a much more sort of noir feel to the horror early on, and it got really outlandish towards the end. That's what I feel like about PCH.
I do think this one's a little scary. It's pretty good. Pretty good. This is a pretty cool
love that cover.
Yeah.
One of my favorite he hands down.
It's got a great feel to it.
It's so good. And the Airboys are fun. There's our Airboy the Barbarian. You usually love it.
You had a bunch of heaps. Did you have this one, DS?
I didn't have a bunch of heaps. I've had a couple of Airboys.
You had the Thing. Maybe I got them mixed up or something.
Oh, yeah, the title, The Thing. I had a complete run of Thing. That was TCH. The Airboys, what I like about the Airboys, there's so many volumes, but all the way into the run when other books have sized down, the Airboys are still wall-to-wall in the slab. Even when you get a 1954 Airboy issue or something, it still fills the entire slab. They didn't size down their books. You get these massive Golden Age books on the Airboys well into the 50s where other books were slimmed down. It's kind of cool. I like the oversized feel of the Golden Age books.
Yep. I love it. I love Airboy. Oh, there we go. No more Atlas.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's too much. Baffling. Some of these bafflings are picking up, but they're the most reasonable price of the Ace publication horror books.
Yeah, this is one of the best baffling covers. This one's pretty good and pretty tough. I think baffling
Stack cover, we call this one.
I think 7 is the big one. 7 or 9, I can't remember the number, but this one's up there. This is one of the better ones.
Yeah, this is number 8.
Yeah, okay, so I think 7 is the really good one.
GS.
Nice black.
I've been looking for like a mid-range 6.0 of this. It's tough, man. I like this cover.
I'm not sure who did it, but it's pretty good.
Well, I think it's Heath.
Yeah, could be.
Could be. Actually, I would take. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I got it on Nicole.
This has to be that same artist that has that crazy one, the pink one that you have that I like with the monster on it.
Well, that's an uncredited artist because that's an Iger shop. It's a feral.
It really looks like that to me. I don't know.
Iger's another one who worked on Green Hornet there, DS.
Yeah, this I have Beware Terror Tales 8.
This is Bailey, they say.
The last issue
Bailey?
was a different artist, and all the other ones before it I think are the same, and I can't remember who it is.
Wow.
I can't remember.
Those monsters are pretty
terrifying, though. It might be Sheldon Moldoff. I'm not sure.
This says Bailey.
That's Bailey?
I mean, according to that site.
Yeah, it probably is.
Bernard Bailey? Yeah.
They say, I mean, I feel like he should have just had one of those terrifying creatures on the cover because it's pretty. He did a great job with those. They look pretty nuts.
Yeah, just go by any weird mysteries in there. That's what you'll get.
Oh, this is a good one.
Pretty wacky cover, this one.
That's another ace.
Yep.
Another thing annoying about these aces is they don't ever put the issue numbers on the cover.
Nope.
You can never tell what issue it is.
I can't help but feel too when, and I don't know for sure, but when the picture they use for this site is like absolutely crap, it might indicate hard to find because I'm sure they would like to rather use an image that wasn't all beat to hell.
Well, I mean, I've never seen that one before. So
yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. Putting some, I don't know what the hell he's doing there. Is it like a mold?
Yeah, I was gonna say, should make it a mold.
I don't know.
Changed in the face. God, so many people would want that.
Kid,
children.
Yeah. Jack Kirby horror, pretty good.
Black magic.
I mean, when do you say that? Not often. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting. The girl in the back is pretty much hanging, but
this is an earlier one in the title. This is one of my favorite PCH titles. I have the entire collected works in reprint form. It's like a slipcase, and they're so fun to read. The story, the art, and then they have little things in these Harvey PCH books where they'll have like song lyrics that are creepy and scary stories in song lyrics or poems, and they have little like one-offs on the pages. It's like sort of like horror themed activities in between the stories. Really, really great, fun stuff to read. I was at one point working on an entire run of this, and I had my top 4, the 4 biggest in the title, and then I lost interest in spending money on the other ones because I realized those are the only ones I wanted. And then I didn't get chambered out. I didn't get tired of it. I got the reprints and I started enjoying it, and now I don't own any of the actual comics. And yeah, there's some I want to pick up again, but it's like a lot of these books I feel like they're common, I don't feel a rush to go buy them, and then it takes me way longer to pick them back up. So, but I would like another 23 and 19 again. Probably is the only one that I would get.
How many did they make?
I think there's 27 issues, or maybe 26 issues. The numbering didn't start at number 1, though. It started at 22.
Oh, okay. So not
22, 23, 24, 25, and then 5. They picked up there 5, 6, 7, 8. So for 23, there's a 22, there's 2 different issues. I think they went up to 26. I think 25 is a robot cover, and then 26 is the last issue.
So there, folks, how DS, he'll kick back in his human skin chair, take his little headlamp on, and he'll chill out reading Chamber of Chills in his basement, the hidden room. I don't know if this is his first appearance, but because I know that there's I feel like a reprint or something. It's a very similar cover. Is this Uncle Scrooge first? No.
First title or something? Or something.
Yeah, this is Carl Barks. It is. Yeah, I think it's the first cover, or no, first his own title. Right, first his own title. But
I don't know. I don't collect the Disney stuff.
It's just a Dell because it's not his own title. It's just Dell number whatever, So.
Yeah, but okay.
Yeah, it's a key, and it's a cool one.
I thought this was a damn cool Phantom cover.
Yeah, so Rick's telling. Yeah, it's the first book with Uncle Scrooge as the title.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though it's like a Dell.
Yeah, it's what is happening here with this white dragon? Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
voodoo stuff in there. Skulls though.
I feel like it's a book before we would have thought like, hey, someday we'll be making a Golden Age weekly show. You could probably get this for like under $50.
Yeah, and this one has a code feel to it. You know what I mean? It looks like a code book. I don't know if that makes sense, but it looks like if I see this out of the corner of my eye, I feel like it's from 1956. I don't know why I feel like that, but it's
they'd be pushing it. The code would be like, "Oh, you're pushing us. Can you get rid of that fire,
dress or colors or what?" But it's I don't know.
Oh, I like this guy.
That's a good one there.
Great book. Oh, and I thought this was pretty brutal. Look at this guy with his whatever they call that spiky thing on the back of the
spur.
Yeah, look at that. He's going right for the throat there, it almost looks like. Jesse James. I thought he was a good guy. Bad guy.
He was a bank robber. He was a train robber.
Well, some of those guys.
St. Joe's, Missouri.
Yeah, it's Avon. Avon had some cool stuff, man. A lot of cool one-shots, too.
It's like the Curb Stomp, but they didn't have curbs. All right. Is this what we were talking about?
Yay, 159. There it is.
It is.
1952.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll say it again. A black cover Golden Age book is where it's at. I'll tell you.
It's got to be one of the best. Pretty good. Nice Everett again. I feel like as the years got closer to 55, Everett's covers got less cool. But he's definitely giving it his all right here. Look at that. That's awesome water, awesome monster, awesome line work, really cool color. The lighting.
Padre, yep.
The lighting is awesome.
Well, Everett's a seasoned veteran at this point. I mean, he's been in comics for 15 years at this point.
Sometimes he hit the bottle a little bit more than he should. Oh, here's another one. I mean, he had to do 2 covers.
Men's Adventures is a weird title because it has a horror run and then it has a war run. It's got a lot of different themes throughout.
It's a great cover, man. So much going on. How could you not put your dime on this?
Yeah, I would buy that if I was a kid and saw that at the newsstand.
It's interesting. I don't know much about periodicals, the other periodicals, but do you think magazines stayed the same price for over 10 years? Because comics are still a dime at this point, and they've been since, 37, 38. This is 1952.
Yeah, I don't know. The comics were geared towards kids, and so I think the price would be, what's the most that would be reasonable for the kid to ask his mom for that she will give him?
I bet there was the smart.
They get charged a little more for a magazine because adults are going to want to buy it to read it. They might pay more, but a kid's got to ask for the money, and at a dime, you can probably get a dime. If they jack that up, you might need more. And mom's like, no, we're not spending money on the 15 cents on that. I don't know.
No, there were those guys, right, who came back from the war, right? But they were, still kids. You could have been 19 coming back. But and his buddies were like, dude, what? You're still buying comic books? The hell? And he's like, dude, these are fucking awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly right, I think.
He was the smart one.
LB4, really sure I think it's Jekyll and Hyde cover story by LB Cole.
Is he stabbing her?
I mean, it looks like he's putting a wooden stake in her.
Yeah.
I've never owned this issue, so I don't know.
It's a weird one. If only that king wasn't there, this book would be so awesome.
I had a copy of this in a 7.5.
Nice.
Which was like, I don't know, second or third highest graded, because I had a full run of this. And this one was particularly hard to track down. The early ones are tougher than the later ones. And the one I had a nice store stamp on it, and it was a 7.5, and it was a really nice copy. And yeah, I don't know, it was cool. It's a cool book, yeah.
I just wish the king wasn't there. If it was just the castle and that thing, you'd be like, whoa, what's going on?
I think the pictures don't do it justice because there is a lot of detail on that monster. And it has a different feel in hand, like most Golden Age stuff does. The pictures of this book never do it justice because it's washed out. But when you have it up close, you can see there's detail on that monster, and it's much cooler.
I love this. It's just like so exaggerated, that car blowing up. It's like, if you go into crime, look what's going to happen to you. It's like, can you be any more literal? It's just like
there's a couple car crash scenes that are pretty violent that Cole did. There's another one where a guy crashes into a lamppost.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That one's pretty brutal too. The only one that I know that draws explosions with that much sort of kinetic energy popping off the cover is Lee Elias.
Yeah.
He does explosions in his Harvey War stuff that are equivalent to the Cole car crash type explosion stuff. It's tough to get that action to jump off the cover and not be static, and Cole really didn't do it.
I mean, even just to think like, all right, well, I guess I'll have him flying through the door and jumping up, like,
I mean, it's the little touches too, like the way he's contorted, his tie is going straight up.
Yeah. It's awesome.
His action and the explosion in the back, everything's silhouetted against the explosion in the background.
Put a spotlight on there.
You can see the wheel flying off the front of the car. Yeah, it's real cool.
He's great artist. This was interesting how she's like half skeleton, I guess. Not sure what's going on with her.
Yeah, I like that one. That's pretty good.
I don't feel like I've ever seen it. I'm not entirely sure if this is wood or not, but oh yeah, no, it's wood. Yeah, see his little.
Yep, that is. That's a good one.
Yeah, that one's kind of lame. I'm not a big fan of that.
I mean, it is
like Bollywood.
It is
first of all
not the best subject matter, but the line work and the blacks are just the details amazing.
He's nuts. This is a tough run to find.
I feel this is a little Frazetta-ish in a way.
This is usually because I have a bunch of these. I want to say Kinsler.
Yeah, it might be.
I'm not saying Frazetta did it, but sometimes they work together.
I think it's Kinsler. There's a few of this run that are just really amazing covers.
Yeah, it's no slouch of a cover. Nor is this. It's a little crazy.
Damn you!
This is Burgos.
Carl Burgos.
The guy who wants Stan Lee put the original Human Torch back into continuity. He took out all his Human Torch original artwork into the backyard and set them on fire because he was so mad.
I do like on these Atlas books the little panels on the side of the book. They're individually drawn panels of some of the stories inside. I really like that on these Atlas books. It's a really cool touch. And some of those have really cool images in them and art, those little panels.
I bet that this would look great in high grade. Another interesting...
Airboy, great Airboy.
It's like, what?
You should see some of the Airboys go... There's times that he's back in time. He's fighting like woolly mammoths with bulldozers and shit. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, just get him off the cover and it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly right. Astonishing.
I thought that was pretty good.
With that light there, that's got to be a Russ Heath.
Russ Heath.
It looks like Russ Heath, yeah.
Yeah, that light, the way he does lighting is...
Well, I always say that, especially on the PCH, but I think to some degree the War too, but he has a lot more explosions and stuff and fire to work with in the War books. But he uses what I call the impossible light source.
Yeah.
He just picks wherever he wants the light to be to make the coolest shadows. And there is usually nothing emanating that light. He's just creating it out of nowhere for the purpose of the shadows. He's got some in caverns and caves and tunnels where he's just picking the light to come from a certain area, but it's not coming from anything. There's nothing there generating the light. He's just trying to create the shadow, so he's making an sort of an impossible light source. Like this one, I mean, there's supposedly a light right in front of her, but it doesn't look like there's anything there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's great. And he did this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that one.
Yeah. Just tells a story.
Got a Boba Fett mark on the helmet.
Terror Tales.
Beware Terror Tales, yeah.
Some of these are good, but
I've got the one I like, which is number 8, and that's the sort of pewter one with the witch is cooking a body, and the body's already a skeleton in the big cauldron. And that's by far the best one.
That's pretty cool. Bells are just cool. I don't know. Oh, I thought this was a little bit brutal. That was pretty good. She's definitely dead.
Yeah.
I like that. Because some of these, I feel, and maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like, and maybe I was thinking of a different title, but Black Cat Mystery had some kind of meh covers, but I definitely thought this was pretty cool. I mean,
the covers?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I wasn't. I felt like it was either this or Chamber Chills, where, you know, other than the big book, the covers were kind of meh, kind of not so great. But I felt like this was pretty good. I don't know if it was this title or not. Did they have a bunch of so-so covers?
Black Cat has a bunch of so-so covers, and then there's one.
Okay.
Plus you have the superhero character Black.
And then Tomb of Terror is like the in-between, where Chamber of Chills has the best covers, Black Cat has the worst other than the one, and then Tomb of Terror is a mix, and there's some good and some not so good. But Black Cat, other than number 50, obviously, the rest are...
Remember that also, the Black Cat, for those of you that may or may not know in the chat here, was actually a superhero character that started this whole thing. She was doing mysteries, solving mysteries in a cat outfit. And,
you know, I like how black they have that guy on this cover, because, you know, sometimes they would do people of different tones in a weird purple kind of, but I love this. I mean, that's true black. It's awesome. It kind of looks like skeletons, like the guy in the background with the shield on the left. Kind of looks like it's just showing his bones. It's really cool. I bet that's harder to do than you think. Hence all the purples and stuff. This is another weird Kirby one. But that's pretty good artwork. He's definitely, you could tell something happened in between kind of the late 40s. Like he really started becoming Kirby fully before he got to Marvel. I feel like right before, because this looks like your typical Marvel Silver Age Kirby.
Yeah, it does.
And yeah, it's just really cool.
Yeah, you're right.
Another LB Cole.
Yeah, more psychedelic sort of.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, swirling, everything in the background just swirling together. Like you almost get dizzy looking at these. Yeah, they're cool. It's a cool title.
That's one you want to put on the Velvet poster.
Yeah. The anthology book you can buy of LB Cole's work is called The Blacklight Art of LB Cole. So,
and it's a great book.
It's a huge book. Yeah, do you have it?
I got it, yeah.
Yeah, it's real cool, man. It's got like everything.
I recommended it. And yeah, it's great. I love that book. This one is it's not my favorite. I do think it's kind of neat because it does look like it's someone else's hand shooting him, but then you see the mirror in the background and it's himself. Other than that, and the Ray Bradbury, I don't know. It's not too great. I thought this was a pretty good Baker.
Yep.
Yeah, it's well drawn.
I mean, very skimpy. You guys were talking about firefighters collecting books a while ago, so I felt like they probably want this one too.
Anthropomorphic animals, they sell.
Yeah, I know a collector he's a fireman and
the best Frankenstein.
So he's in the Marines and he's a firefighter. So he likes military and firefighter related comics.
Of this title, this is my favorite of the covers by far.
Did Adam Kubert or whoever it is Origin #1 or something, where Wolverine looks into the water and sees his reflection? It's like a
maybe
homage to this cover. That'd be stretching it. That's a great cover though. This is wood.
Yeah,
those
North by Northwest cover.
Those blacks.
It does look like a North by Northwest cover.
Good explosion.
There you go.
Yeah.
Who did this?
If Bub was here, he'd do some good commentary.
Yeah. Who drew this one?
I don't know.
It's Atlas,
right? D, right? There's a D. Well, no, that might have been drawn on there.
Well, it might be the Crippen D.
Yeah, this is a Crippen copy.
Oh, I love this. Cold War. Not too many.
Yeah, I mean, he did this Horrors of War. Has some cool stuff in it. I've never owned any of these. What
was LB Cole's first work? Because he did Green Hornet too,
I don't know. He worked for Novelty early on. He worked on some Blue Bolts and some Targets.
Didn't he work on Suspense 1?
Probably Interior. Yeah.
Interior. He did the interiors, yeah.
That was Continental, but that's like 45. And
yeah, that was a little 40. No, yeah, 44, 43.
42, 43. He was working on like Targets, Blue Bolts, Interior stuff.
Yeah.
Some really killer Interior stuff on those. And then Continental's like 45 range.
Did he die early?
I don't know. Honestly.
Yeah, well, I have it in that book somewhere.
He did a cover, a 3D book. He did the whole book in the 80s.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, he did some Overstreet covers. That's true.
Yeah, he did.
And he did publications in 1950, and then so he was. People say McFarlane's the first artist-owned, creator-owned studio. It wasn't. It was Star
Publications.
LB Cole bought Star and did every cover except for 2, and that was like 1950, 51, up through the Code, and then after the Code, I don't really know what he did. I'm like not a huge historian of his, but he did some magazines and some pamphlets and some other stuff that's not comic related in the 50s.
I asked if he died early because clearly he cared about color a lot, and I'm willing to bet he called the shots on the coloring in this. And I read It was a book about the early goings of Marvel. And they talked about, they had this interview with, or maybe it was Alter Ego, I don't know, but old timey interview. And the colorists of Timely at the time were saying how they were all, and it was a lot of women, they were all in like a small room, and the chemicals were like insane on whatever they were using to use the coloring on the acetate or however they did it. And they were talking about how everyone was like dead except for like barely anyone. And it turns out a lot of those chemicals were like really, really bad. So I don't know. I was just wondering if Cole died early, 'cause maybe by this point, the color, they used the different chemicals or something. But, back in the day, they put you all in one little room and they'd be smoking plus breathing all those chemicals.
Yeah, and his covers, for the most part, every inch of it has color on it. So I imagine when they print these out, they're practically wet with so much. They probably had a pretty high part of their budget was ink. You know what I mean? Because there's not a lot of white on any of his covers. It's completely covered with color everywhere in all of his covers. I bet they went through a lot of ink with his covers then, as opposed to the average.
Yeah. Killer Evil Clowns. I had to add it.
That's probably like a Simon and Kirby too, right?
It looks like it to me, but I feel like, I don't know if it is. But I think it is. Because I think Guilty was like one of theirs. This is a nice one.
Yeah, I'd like that one.
Man of Mars.
Yeah, that's got that nice painted, pulpy sort of look to it. It's really gaining popularity like this. I don't know if this is a Ziff Davis, but it probably is. But the Ziff Davis stuff like this, it's really starting to gain a little more popularity.
Yeah.
And this one is cool, yeah.
I feel like this and those other ones I showed earlier that were like halfway between painted or not. I'd want to see in my own hands, like at a con or something, because they could either be amazing or maybe not so good.
Well, I want to get one of these. I want to get an Amazing Adventures 4.
Yeah.
Ziff Davis painted cover with it's almost like a steampunk robot cover. That thing is awesome. I love that. And, I waited too long because now the price is moving every time I watch one. And I've been watching it for years, and I've just been twiddling my thumbs, I guess. I don't know. But this is on my list, too. I like this one.
She's got
kind of like, it looks like a Planet Comics, sort of.
Yeah, totally. I don't recall ever seeing a zombie Indian kind of thing. So
no, I don't think I've seen that one before.
This might be it. Too bad Cole didn't do it. That would have been awesome.
That is Ken Bald.
It's not bad.
ACG is like the workhorse of PCH.
Oh, here's one of those gross ones.
I love this book.
It's just those colors and that frothy.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
Well, this is very nice with my Mr. Mystery 18, where the guy is cutting up heads and making shrunken heads. Yeah. Same as that, very similar type stuff. Yeah.
It's very repulsive.
I want one of these. I want a nice copy, and I'll pay for it. And there's one out there right now that I'm thinking about, but I don't know. I really want this book. I like this book a lot.
And, how could you possibly blame the comic company if you have parents buying their kids this? What, are they blind?
I mean, there's not like you can't tell from the cover what's in it.
Yeah, like, oh, I thought it was fine. What? How could you sell this to my child?
Yeah, I think there's one. Is there one? That's number 8, right?
Yep. That was 8.
There's one on eBay. That's pretty nice. Yeah, there's a 4 on eBay. I know the seller. He doesn't negotiate real well. He's pretty hard to work with. He doesn't come down much. But it's a 4.0 off white, and it's pretty nice. It's just price is probably close. And who knows? Maybe I will buy that one from him, but I'm not buying it today. But
nice.
This is I think any of the later Phantom series are tough to get.
Yeah, they are.
I wouldn't want to spend a lot. You know, I wanted to go after this run, but the more I read about him, he's more of kind of like your normal dude in this.
Yeah, it's not like the Bronze Age one.
Yeah, and I really liked when he kind of was like, you know, badass.
Yeah, he was
Doctor Strange or something, you know, that kind of thing.
So,
but I do want to. I'll get a number one someday. Oh, look at this classic. I mean, that's just a classic. It's just graphic design is beautiful.
Yeah.
How is this one? Is this one in the top 10 expensive Coles?
No, it's not.
It should be.
Well, no, you got to remember Suspense 8's in there.
Well, I mean, Suspense 8's in there, Startling Terror 11, Mask 1, Mask 2. I mean, there's some really baller LD Cole stuff. And then you got some of like Blue Bolt 105, the Captain Arrow. You got the whole sci-fi, Flight 11. I mean, there's a lot of stuff way ahead of this. And then when you get into like,
keep it low.
You've got like the Blue Bolt 115. That's like the heavy metal Megadeth sort of cover. And then this is, yeah, I mean, it's good, but he has so much awesome stuff. This is not even close to cracking the top 10.
So how much?
I mean, for the VG copy,
$250.
probably VG copy probably be
500.
Yeah, I mean, I think 500 is fair. I would, if somebody listed at 650, I'd be like, yeah, maybe. I mean, it might sell for even up to 7 if it's a good looking.
I'd be happy with this as a one example. Get a Cole someday, and this would be a nice one. It's got
where the value is on something like this, if you find a really, really vibrant looking good copy that doesn't have to be killer condition, but like in the 5 to 7.5 range of a really copy, that will be one that will be coveted.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of beater copies of these out there. They're not super rare, but yeah, they sell quick. They're pretty liquid. I mean, everybody likes LB Cole.
Yeah, I could see if you had a lot of creases in this, that might not.
Yeah, and the pictures you're showing are all perfectly centered. That's not the
He's
case
got Griffin copies. Half of them have the D on them to the left.
I mean, half of them, the top cuts right through the Startling title. Half of them sideways, or miswrapped, or it's cut off on the bottom. The centering is not like this picture that you're showing.
Is that typical for his publishing?
Yeah, I think so. I would say so. Yeah,
must have drove him crazy.
The cuts are probably average.
You know, he didn't like that because he paid a lot of attention to graphic design.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of miscuts on the Star Run.
I like this.
What number is this? This is
number 18.
So what year are we in?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty scary.
What year are we in? 53?
We're in 53. We're almost done. These are pretty good fangs.
Yep.
I didn't. Police guy? Okay. So that's before they had the cage in between.
Well, that's Jack Davis, right?
Can't tell.
It could be Leo Linus.
No, it's easy.
No, that's Jack Davis, yeah.
Jack Davis.
What number is this? This is 28? I mean, 38?
36.
Yeah, he did that whole mid-30s run. I know that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah. There's LB Cole. This one's a tough
another one. Velvet painting. Velvet.
This is actually one of the harder ones. If I'm not mistaken, DS, this one's one of the harder ones to find of this run. The most common one is the
They changed the several times. They had Terrifying Tales, Terrors of the Jungle, and then what was the other one? Jungle Horrors or something. I don't know what the other one was, but it's tough to find these at all, and they usually don't have such good color like this picture does.
I'd rather have the previous one. This is pretty cool too.
Yeah, there you go. Terrors of the Jungle. This is the same title. Just they
I
changed.
don't like it when he puts so much text on the cover, though. What the hell?
I like it. It's a cool.
It looks like a splash page.
Yeah, I mean the splash
title page.
Yeah,
title splash. Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of the splash pages are almost identical to the covers too. They're very.
Really? Huh.
And I like it because the wording and the writing has its own. It's part of the art. It's not separate. It's built into it, sort of. The borders around the bubble where the words are, and the coloring of morass of death. Yeah, I like it. It's cool. It's part of the art.
That red lava black lake of liquid down at the bottom is awesome.
Yeah.
So like LB Cole, it's great. This is just a weird one. His face is in there. Face is in the towel.
Bring back my face.
I would guess this is wood. It looks awesome.
I don't know. I think this book is, I guess, underrated. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the dude in the foreground is kind of meh, but that guy in the back is awesome, and all that machinery is great. It's great, and I like that kind of weird reddish, purplish. It's got a unique color to it. It's nice on the top.
Yeah, it's a cool sci-fi horror mix.
This, I'm not sure what's going on here. Bone dry. Yeah, I mean, they're starting to get a little wacky.
Yeah.
This is 54 now, so we're getting the end here. I like this one, though. I like this. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of scary. I don't like rats. You know, they got some... My wife always laughs at me because we got a glass door out to the patio, and there's a tree out there. And I saw rats running in the trees. And I was like freaking out because I don't like rats. And they were like running up the trees onto the top of the house. And then I don't know where the hell they're going, but I had never seen, and apparently they're pretty common out here in the northwest, rats that climb up trees. But I don't know about, they got those at your house, at your place? Rats that climb trees? It's just that shouldn't happen.
Well, we don't have, I'm not in a super urban area. We don't have rats, but there's places where I've seen mice, not the same thing. But rats, I grew up, you know, New York metropolitan area up in the Northeast. And yeah, rats are well known to climb. They swim. They're very good swimmers. They climb. They do it all, man.
You shouldn't have to look up if you're against rats.
Everywhere, man. They climb, they swim, they do it all.
I was like, that squirrel looks, what the? No. It's not good. This is a good one, Ghost. I like all that smoke.
Is this Whitman who did this one?
Don't know. But it does look like those other ones we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm not 100%. This title,
some Whitman is really well done.
This title sort of spiked a couple of years ago when it got really hot, especially the one, Ghost 6 or Ghost 2, with the girl on the floor and the computer.
Is this fiction? Fiction house?
I don't know. I've never owned any of them, and I've never really gone after any of them, but I know they were
not with that stuff on the side. That wouldn't be.
They were pretty hot for a while. They've since cooled off a little, but they're still pretty cool books.
That could be like St. John publication or something.
I don't remember who does it.
Let me look that up for you right here while I have it.
I don't know what's going on here.
The End of Fate's one of the worst PCH titles on. I've never seen one of those I liked.
He-Man, early He-Man appearance.
He-Man or He-Man?
He-Man.
Ah.
Mr. Flatfoot.
That one's real cool. 16.
It's pretty neat. I like how it's half and half. It's good.
Yeah, it's a nice change cover. Yeah, this is a cool one. I had a really nice copy of this. I sold it to TJ.
Nice.
It was on his Grails list, and so he wanted it, and I was like, "Yeah, man, we'll work something out on it. That's cool."
I could see how great this would be without any spine ticks.
Yeah, the one I had was a 6.0.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Pretty sharp copy. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It is Fiction House. It is Fiction House.
It is. I knew it.
Yes, good call. And that cover.
That one, I like that one too.
Number 8, no, number 6. Which one did you show up there? You showed number 10. 10. That is Maurice Whitman, and yeah. Strange Case of the Absent Floor. The non-existent 13th floor.
I like this one.
Like a Harry Anderson. But I'm not sure.
This is just forget who this guy is, but I feel like isn't this one of the only Mads that isn't this a expensive Mad?
Is this the Al Javid himself? Yeah, that is one of the ones that people go after. It's pretty good.
I've never researched Mad. I've never been interested in Mad. I've never bought.
I see it on the boards for money on the CGC boards. So
it's one of those Crumb-like kind of guys.
Yep.
I like the skull, the eye in the skull. It's always good.
Yeah.
I still don't really get it. Like, wait, I'm drinking a man?
Well, you got to buy it to find out. Yeah, what happens beyond death? That's why you got.
When you're in Mexico, what do you think said the worm in the tequila came from?
But I'll tell you, that cover makes you want to buy it.
Mezcal, sorry.
Yeah, it definitely does. It reminds me of that Shadow pulp where he's got the eyeballs in the skull.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really good. Oof. It looks like it should be a Cole. I don't know if it.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
it
is.
This title has one of the few non-Cole covers in it. He did this again. They did the renumber. The numbering stayed the same. They changed the title. So Spook technically starts at 22 and goes to 30, and number 30 is a Jay Disbrow cover, and 22 through 29 are all Cole.
Did he go by Jay Bell or Jay Disbrow on that one?
Disbrow.
Okay, because he was Jay Bell on a lot of books as well.
Yeah, I don't know what number this is, but it's the Cole cover.
Maybe that's where Metallica got the name of their song from.
Creeping Death.
Creeping Death.
It's a great song.
Yeah, I feel like Creeping Death is on that famous pulp too with the.
Oh yeah.
The skeleton.
Wait, was that? Yeah. Another coffin one.
Another Cole.
Yeah.
The Cole candles.
It's good. I'll tell you what, if I was a millionaire, I would collect every single Cole cover.
Good for you.
That would be cool.
I don't have the money or the resources or the space to do it, so I just stick to like my Grail level ones, and then I'll pick up the other ones to enjoy them and then move them on, but I don't hold everything anymore.
This is a fun one.
This is one of the key Marvel Marvel Age, Strange Tales.
Uh-huh.
It's an Anderson.
Yeah.
Harry Anderson.
I would guess you don't see this often, right? Or at least in good grade.
I don't know. I feel like there's plenty of them out there.
I see them on the boards all the time. Yeah.
This isn't one that those people got like.
A lot of people don't get it graded though, too. So.
500 of these comics.
They do, but there's these Atlas books are very common, relative to other PCH stuff, not relative to Silver Age, but there's plenty of these out there. I see them routinely. Yeah, I mean, I see good ones. I see, you're not going to see 9.0s of that very often, but I see, VG Fine copies come up. It's not really that rare.
Again, it's got the eyeballs in the skull.
Yeah, I like that. It's a cool touch.
Nice Baker.
Is that a Baker?
I would assume.
Yeah, it's cool. I could see why that would be a good one.
Right? I mean, what do you think, JD? Baker?
The hair.
I think the legs.
Not enough boob.
Yeah. Someone will tell us. And yeah, I think this is the last one. Just weird. I don't know who did this. It's got cool lighting, so Fish, but I don't.
Harvey, probably Lee Elias, but I don't see his signature circle, so it might be Warren Kramer.
I was going to say Warren Kramer did a lot.
Witch's Tales is the other Harvey PCH we didn't talk about.
I don't really get what's going on here either.
I don't know.
Why the hell is this little guy? He's like, I was sleeping. What the hell? I don't know. This is weird.
I don't know.
And 55 all had the code on it, so I just skipped it.
Oh, of course. So
that's it.
Next week, if we can, a little research. Let's talk about a title that has everybody who's anybody in the golden age, or at least the big keys in there would be Green Hornet. Has Jerry Robinson, Jack Kirby, Joe Simon, CC Beck, and other guys. And it's such an underrated title. We're going to talk about that. Everybody, I want to thank the chat.
Are you going to have a special guest with all their Green Hornet?
Lewis on with a few. And I have a guy who collects a bunch of them. See if I can get him to bring.
Green Hornet.
I want to show you a kid's book I got.
And Green Hornet, by the way, predates Superman, but Superman came with a cape.
This is called Devil Man, and this is like a board book, for the kids.
Oh, really?
But it's pretty wild, It's got some DS. I mean, this would be a book you would like as a kid.
Yeah, I think we talked about this title of the anime world before.
Yeah, it's by one of the Jack Kirby's over there, Go Nagai. He's a great artist and creator. He created tons of stuff. But yeah, I was surprised because, it's like a kid's book. And, it's just pretty graphic. Not too much going on, but, hell. And I feel like it's a little bit maybe, Hulk inspired because he turns in this guy and he's really violent and he's green. And somehow he can grow. I don't know if that really happens.
They'll be banning Dr. Seuss before they ban this any day.
And he goes into space too, apparently.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Pretty rare.
Good stuff.
Rare, cool book. 1972.
Well, everybody, I think we had a great show. Thank you, guys. Again, the three of us did it.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Always good. Always a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you all for being a friend. We're going to close it out. Does anybody have anything they want to plug first? Or
Nope.
Catch Ryland Grant tomorrow.
Are you going to do an auction?
Catch Ryland Grant tomorrow. He released Peacekeepers. Finally, I got it in the mail. It came out. It looks really good. Got a nice piece of original art with it. I've got all the volumes here. I'm going to enjoy reading it, and then I hopefully to catch it on. He'll be on Comic Core tomorrow on Writer's Block with David Avalone. Should be a good time. So that's it, everybody. Thank you all for being a friend.
You doing anything, DS?
Right now?
I mean, auction or anything?
Nope. I'm just watching the market and getting ready to sell some books at the right time. I'm trying to put together a big budget by the summer for Heroes Con and elsewhere. And then
I think I might be going to Heroes Con, my friend.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to sell. I got the FF1, FF48. I got some Silver Surfer 4s. I got a giant size. I got some PCH and some Golden Age I'll probably sell. So I'm probably going to sell a lot here in the next couple months. Nice. And I'll pick up some nice stuff in the summer. That's my plan.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for being here. Have a good one.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you